Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to Japan. Who's here? Who's going to be first? Who's going to be the first person through the door? Hello, hello. Someone come and join me. Who's going to come and join me? I am a few minutes late. I can appreciate that, but I'm here. That's the main thing that counts. So, anyone, is me being late going to cause a complete and utter whitewash of no one turning up? Still 0 people. Oh my god, we're nearly 20 seconds in and there's no one here. Did I set this chat to private? I'm pretty sure. Oh no, there's the people. Hi, people. Hello. Hello, Harry. Harry's first. Welcome, Harry. How are you, sir? How are you? And can you all hear me okay? That's one of my primary concerns. I've got the microphone nice and close these days. 1, 2. Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm going to let a few people roll in. Today's drink of choice is strawberry, except for it's a rather pleasant 4% strawberry. I'm going to get a little bit of a nice light 4%. Hello, Kelly. Hi, how are you doing, Kelly? Nice to see you there. Nice to see everyone coming in. I'm glad that you can hear me. There we go. Cheers, everyone. Oh, good. That smells amazing. Wow. Hey, Sven. How are you doing, mate? How you doing? Well, I mean, it tastes amazing as well. That's fantastic. There you go. So strawberry is our drink of the day. All right. So I guess we all know that there's a few things to be talking about today. And this is also, I just realized this is the last live stream before Christmas. It's officially the 22nd here now. We've just gone past midnight. I can hear you fine. Thank you, Harry. I'm glad that people can hear me. So as you guys probably know, we're on for a bit of a long haul tonight. It's going to be a bit of a lengthy session. Fernando's here as well. It's lovely. Everyone's tuned in. Apologies that I started a bit late. There was some major drama. Just technical website stuff, nothing to do with this, actually to do with something completely different, but anyway, everything is okay now. The world has returned to normal, and thank you for the like that I've already received there. So there's a few things we're going to discuss today, and one of them is this has been quite an interesting adventure. Really enjoyed this. And obviously I'm going to be giving my final thoughts on this, but I was going to open it up as you guys are here. If anyone had any, before we get into anything else, if anyone had any specific questions, or just kind of throughout, if anyone had any specific questions about anything I'd said about the album thus far, be really interested to know what you guys think. There's a lot more Scandal coming up as well. Scandal a little bit delayed today, but one of the good bits of news was something that you guys didn't see, but I've actually uploaded 19 new reviews today. There's 19 new reviews, but they're all scheduled. They're set to private. You can't see them. They're scheduled to come out over the following 2 weeks. And that was to buy myself time to do some of the stuff that I said I wanted to finish. Penguin's here. All hail the Penguin. Hello, sir. Welcome back. Welcome back. So yeah, there's a lot of work happened today. In fact, my computer is currently saving more reviews that I've done. So you'll be seeing reviews over the next 2 weeks where my beard will get longer and shorter. I noticed when I was saving all of them today that they were all taken at different times. So just my beard appears to arbitrarily grow and disappear during these reviews. Invisible reviews. Oh my. Well, I thought if I put them all out in one day, first of all, that would be way too much of me for anyone, and second, I would have absolutely nothing to put out for the next 2 weeks. So I thought that would be a nice thing to do. So they are ready to go. Let's have a look here. Welcome to the criminally underrated. Thank you. Yes, I'm not going to let that go to my head, but it was lovely that someone said on the Bandmade subreddit that I'm apparently criminally underrated. I agree is all. No, I'm not going to let it go to my head, I swear. But no, that was really nice, actually. There were some nice comments in there. And there was some thoughtful comments in there as well, actually. I did actually have a little look at the subreddit comment. And I think there was one guy who was kind of saying, well, I don't really like these kind of things at all. I just kind of like listen to the music and I don't want to hear people break it down. And I thought that's kind of fair, although it was kind of a bit of a self-negating comment because it was almost he was saying, I'm not interested in this for exactly the same reason that I do this. And therefore it's like, all credit to you, sir, but that's probably why you wouldn't watch this. It's kind of like me commenting on a thing about football and saying, well, I don't like football. But then again, he likes the band. So anyway, I just thought that was a funny comment. But it was a really, really good point. And it does sort of highlight there's a lot of people who just who like music, but don't really want to talk about it. They don't want to think about it like that. They just want it to be like a thing. and don't want anything more than that. So it's always interesting when you see things about what you're doing appearing on Reddit. Let's have a look at some of the comments here. Did you already hear Sci-Si's digital EP? Well, I'm doing the same thing as I did with Conquer It here. I'm going to get my hands on a proper copy. It's after it didn't occur to exist when I went to Tokyo. My bad. I'd already been told that, but I hadn't actually paid attention to the comment, as thus I should have done. Sorry, Sven. But as a result, I will be waiting and hopefully getting a physical copy as my Christmas present to me. My Christmas present to me is more work. I give myself work as a Christmas present. But it is still, I really want to hear that EP because I'm really looking forward to seeing, because obviously the last 3 tracks I think are re-envisaging of songs they've done before. So I'm really looking forward to hearing them. But of course, that means I can only listen to the ones that I've already reviewed. So if there's anything from like Girls Power or something like that, I won't actually be able to listen to it despite buying it as a Christmas present to myself. Oh my God, this is much more complicated than I had originally envisaged. Example of these new reviews. A lot of them are from the Reddit. There was this, as I was saying to a few of the guys on the Discord, I caused myself a I just want to quickly reply to what Sven said. There's a physical copy. There is a physical copy. My line updates have been updating me about this. There's a physical copy, CD, DVD, CD, Blu-ray. There's no just CD version. They all come with a video disc as well. A laser disc. There's a laser disc version. No, but there's a VHS version. You get a CD sellotaped to the front of a VHS. No, that's not a thing. That's not real. But no, there are like physical copies coming out, and they've been hyping it on the Sci-Fi line account. But sorry, so I just wanted to skip ahead to that because that was directly related to what I'd already replied to. But just saying to what Fernando said, yeah. I felt a little bit bad because I've been hyping up all the time. Hey, if you want to give suggestions, go give suggestions on the Reddit subthread. And then I haven't been uploading those ones. But the main reason for that was because there was just a lot of things that I had to get into quickly recently. No disrespect to obviously people who follow listening for new artists. And this is one of the things I felt a little bit bad about recently, is it has been really heavily focused on a lot of the same things. But you know, with the Bandmade album coming out, I had to hit that while it was fresh. With the new Baby Metal video, I haven't actually covered Baby Metal for a while actually, so in a way I should be getting back to do a bit of their sort of interesting stuff, but I had to jump on that quite quickly as well. These things are necessary because obviously I want to keep the profile of the channel nice and high, so we keep on getting new people from all different sources. But I have noticed recently that I haven't been able to upload as many of the obscure stuff. We do kind of go through these phases depending on what's coming out. Sometimes it will just be all obscure stuff for like a month, and then it will be like an album listen through of something really big for a month. But with the the Bandmade album coinciding with me already listening to Scandal's best Scandal album, that meant I had 2 album listen throughs going every day pretty much. And I had to get in another video as well, so it was pretty much dropping 3 reactions every day. It was getting a bit hectic. And so I was doing all this stuff and I wasn't finding room to put anything else in. So as a result, the Scandal one slightly slowed down. I had a couple of spaces in that and everything. But yeah, it's all kind of on track. And the Bandmade album review will be finalized fairly soon with the conclusion video. And then we'll be moving on to some other things. I did actually react live to, talking of Bandmade, to the Bandmade versus Ningenis guitar battle thing, which was really awesome. But there's lots of other things coming up. There was a Mochi Cheese video I did a while ago, but never got a chance to upload. That's coming. So there is still Bandmade related stuff, but lots of other things are going to be coming in. Obviously, once we finish Best Scandal, then I'll be reviewing a different album from a different artist, and then coming back to do the next Scandal album. So the Scandal albums will not be like every day for the next year, but they will be intermittently. It'll be Scandal, something else, Scandal, something else. Also, I'm doing the same thing with Silent Siren, so it might actually be Scandal, Silent Siren, Scandal, Silent Siren, and then intermittently with anything else that comes out. You know, it's going to be a really full-on schedule, and that's not even including the Reddit suggestions. But the Reddit suggestions, you'll see. I mean, I don't even have to prove it. When you see the reactions to the things that were suggested on Reddit, you'll see it, because the reaction will come up and it'll be like, Howard looks a year younger. Like a lot of them, like I say, you can see my beard totally changing length, because a lot of these were recorded over a long time, but I've just been sort of filing a lot of them saying, well, look, I'll get these out as and when, but I didn't want to sort of rush, throw things in where they didn't belong, stuff like that. B Rumble, hello, B Rumble. You're, apart from the fact your name's kind of catchy, it's like B Rumble, B Rumble. It rolls off the tongue. Apart from that, hi, never seen you on here before, so nice to see you. Hello. Let's have a look at New Gloom Spanky video. Is there a New Gloom Spanky video? I don't know why that hasn't come up on my YouTube feed. CMC, drop me a link. You know where. Reddit, everyone. Woo. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to assure everyone in equal measures that as much attention as I'm paying to Scandal and Badmade, the Reddit suggestions, a lot of them are not only coming, but have already been recorded and now, as of today, have been uploaded as well, but are in the schedule waiting to be released on their appropriate dates. So yeah, don't worry. If you put suggestions in, they are coming. There's always been a long delay on this channel getting around to suggestions because they get so many, and sometimes you have to filter, sometimes you upload them and then they get copyright struck, and then it's like, wow, I've been waiting a month to do that, and suddenly upload it and you can't watch it, and you got to take it back down, re-edit it and upload it again. So it's there are many reasons why your suggestions can take a while to get round to. I'm not just sort of delaying them to keep people hanging on the channel, but believe me, if you suggest something on the Reddit subthread, at the very least, I will get round to it one way or another. Reactions before the Howard became famous Poe. Yeah, that Howard ain't ever going to be famous, that's for sure. This strawberry stuff is absolutely fantastic. I know that it's only 4%. That makes it, still stronger than Carlsberg. So let's have a look here. Definitely first time in your live stream. Well, welcome nonetheless. Does it include another passcode reaction? Yeah, you know what? Actually, I mean, passcode. It's all the names beginning with P. Passcode and Perfume. I know are one of those artists who really, really split a lot of the fans. But I personally, I'm looking at you, CMC. I personally am really enjoying reviewing Passcode. They're really fun. So it's one that I definitely have got more of that lined up. There is a little bit of a balance that I'm trying. It's also a tonal thing. Like, for example, if we have suggestions for like loads and loads of artists who I can kind of tell are like idol groups, I have to temper that a little bit with bands as well, just to kind of keep balancing the schedule so you get a regular flow of both artists but also styles and things as well, because you don't want some people saying, well, there's a lot of new music but everything this week was idol, or everything this week was rock band, or everything this week was metal or whatever. It takes quite a while to try and work out the schedule, which is actually one of the other reasons why I wanted to get back ahead of the videos so far, so that I can really make a playlist where every day you're kind of getting something a bit different. For example, a lot of things I wanted to do recently are related to sub projects of Bish, and I was like, I don't want everyone to get just like bored of just Bish all the time. Even though I'm enjoying it, I don't want everyone just to think that's all we're doing. So I'm kind of breaking that up a little bit as well. There's a lot of things in the firing line. Anyway, Bubs is back, taking a small break while I try a few things out. Bubs is coming back. I don't know. Don't know how to. Actually, I'm not going to give any clues away. But me and Bubs had a long discussion about how we're going to do his thing. And we've got an idea that I think is going to be really good, and I think it's going to be really interesting. It's going to differ a lot from what I'm doing, but give a kind of an event. And I will probably allude to that a little bit more later. But for now, that's something where we had a discussion. I had an idea that I really liked, and Bubs seems to like it as well. But we want to sort of let and see if it works, see if it's comfortable for his recording style. So look here, Bien Maja. I don't know. Bien Maja, is that a song name? I don't know. I'm probably way off. Hell yeah. Okay, so clearly something like that. Hannah, hi Hannah. Hi, welcome Hannah. Nice to see you here. It's lovely to see new people coming in here as well. It's always good because it's nice. We get some. We have some very random conversations here, but we also sometimes have some normal conversations. We try to keep it about topical music stuff. Spider Guy, Majida Strawberry. Oh, okay. Oh, is that what it is? I don't know. Just tastes good. Hi, the Wisely Brothers. Yeah, no, the Wisely Brothers is one of the ones I was talking about. The reason the Wisely Brothers couldn't, I'm doing that as in track by track EP one, even though that's only like a couple of tracks. I couldn't realistically run that alongside the fact that I had already seen from a little way off that Best Scandal was going to be running alongside Conqueror by Bandmade. I was like, I cannot have 3 track by tracks running at the same time. Because then I'd have to put out 4 videos every day. So Wisely Brothers is coming very soon. That one I actually didn't upload today, but like I was, just in case you just joined the live chat, I was saying I uploaded a vast number of videos to the channel today on the schedule system. So you can't see them, but it means they'll be coming out over the next few days, which means you'll be seeing all the videos I've recorded over the last month and been wanting to put out. So you see my beard constantly changing length, but this is to buy me time to record some other things that I want to put on the channel, which I think you guys are really going to like. And it's not to say that if something interesting and new comes out, I will definitely tackle it. But yeah, lots of really interesting things coming up that I hope you guys are going to like. Bubs, yes, the sort of Star Wars this morning. Oscar I was awesome in it. Howard would love it. Listen, the less we say about that, the better. Not so much bish, 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 more bish, bish, bosh, bish. Bish, bish, bosh. Yeah, bish, bish, bosh. Well said. Well said. That's very English colloquialism we just dived into there. The Howard TM marketing team will soon be screening live stream questions due to this resulting fame. You basically have to just have my secretary appear. The secretary who I will never be able to afford. Or actually, we could just get Daisy to do it. Maybe Daisy will do it. And ask Daisy. Daisy. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Now I need a drink. I think that's pretty much all the time, Bubs. I don't think you have to specify when that happens. I think that's pretty much your permanent state. Yes, sorry, just something straight out my nose when I laughed then. Yes, the Howard GM Corporate HQ are on peak alert for bears. They're looking out for bears. Sven has got a Biena Maja, a German-Japanese animation series featuring a bee with the name Maja. That's just kind of awesome. Therefore, same AFK. Got to write some stuff down. AFK. Some reason I was thinking Asian Kung Fu Generation, but that's not it. Oh, same as maybe. Same as? That's not near the K. I'm trying to work out what you were saying, B Rumble. Trying to work out what you were saying. If it was an abbreviation and I'm just not cool enough to be down with these modern abbreviations. Text speak, it came in the 90s and I still haven't caught up yet. Woo! So yes, anyway, what I was going to do for this live stream, and unfortunately due to problems today, I haven't been able to do it in time. I was going to show you the layout for the new studio design, how it was going to look in here once we've done it. Haven't had the time, so what I'm going to quickly do, you've seen some of these before, but I'm going to quickly line you through the things I've got thus far, which are going to appear in the away from keyboard. Thanks, guys. That was probably from the days of AOL, and I still haven't caught up with it yet. Anyway, thank you. So, semi away from keyboard. All right, that's cool, B Rumble. Just, it's fine. Pop in and out as you want. If you don't know what the hell's going on, just tell us to give you an update. Bubs, you need a call center for the... Oh, don't talk about call centers, Bubs. You, of all people, should not talk about... Me and Bubs used to work in a call center. That's all you need to know. Not an approved, the Howard TM abbreviation. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, but actually, the interesting story, I mean, Bubs probably knows me from the most... we met during quite possibly the most depressing point in my life, which was kind of when... a lot of the things that I've been working on hadn't really been, well, I'd kind of been stuck in England, basically. And then, when I finally came back to Japan, that's when things started picking back up, started getting back involved in working with music properly again. And I've decided as a result to start the podcasts that then became the radio show that then became this. So, yeah, this is really built up from years and years and years, but it's all built up from that dark depth of reality, which was the time when I met Bubbles. But you could look at it in the positive way and say that means that everything has got better since I met Bubbles. So, no, I was not the reason for this depression this time. No, you were just magically there. Hi, hey, Purple's back. Hi, Purple. Nice to see you, sir. Anyway, like I say, apologies that because of all the issues that came up today just before the live stream started, which is why I was late. I haven't had a chance to like set up everything like I wanted to, but I will quickly show a few things. I said I wasn't going to spoiler it, but I'm going to spoiler a little bit. If I move up now, you're going to see my butt crack, so I have to. My trousers are down. There we go. That's better. No one needed to see that, and yet see it you did. All right. Da, da, da. Many things gonna appear on the back wall. Sorry, I'm getting there. I promise. So, like I say, if you've been with us for a while, if you've been on a few of these live chats, you've probably seen most of these already. I worked at your call center. Fernando, you did? Oh, worked a year at a call center. I was about to say, if you worked at my call center, I don't remember working in Canada. Year at a call center. Yeah, it's. I mean, admittedly, what we were doing wasn't kind of. To be honest, it's hard to complain because what we were doing was not actually your normal call center stuff. I think Bubs would agree that what we were doing was it was better than 99% of call center jobs. It was not like cold call or anything like that. It was genuine sort of customer service stuff. But it was the sort of thing where you're punished for giving too much customer service because they don't like that. It's like, don't be too nice, just process the customers. It's like, all right, calm down. And I had to deal with basically sorting out debt problems for businesses. So, businesses would call in, they were in debt, and I'd have to help them resolve it. But anyway, less we say about that period in my life, the better. That was the only thing I was, during those few years when I was there, the only thing that I was doing directly related to music was managing two bands. That was it. I was managing two bands. I was doing a little bit of studio work. It wasn't even a job. It was like part-time. It was kind of like, it was real amateur hour stuff that I was doing for those few years. And it was kind of rewarding in a way, worked with some great people. In fact, I met one of the best producers I ever worked with, probably actually the best producer I ever worked with. I met during that time, a guy called Steve Gilmore, who was like, he used to be like really, really, quite a big name. He worked in America, worked in London, but he was kind of, long since retired, and he was just working with local musicians. So we did a lot of stuff together. And actually, you know what? I'll be honest, I had some really good times working with music during that time. But it was one of those things where working a lot with the local scene, and it was just kind of like it wasn't going anywhere. And so what originally looked like a bit of an adventure, like, oh, we're working in the local music scene in London, soon turned into this depressing, just going round and round the same cycle, the same circuit, working with the same people. And it's just like nothing ever changes. And it's like, oh no, I have to get back to work. I have to get back to working with like the actual record companies. I have to get back to working, outside of London. And so I just, with that and so many other things, gave me the motivation to get back here. And so I came back here, and everything's been a million times better since. Let's have a look here. Fewer posters, more belt. Belt? More belt? Oh, you mean belt for the trousers? Yeah, there isn't a belt on these, which is why I haven't. I'll have to watch that back and see how much waffle you guys were subjected to at that moment. But we've actually got more viewers, so it couldn't have been too bad. Too much beer can affect the memory, lol. Genuine customer services, patent pending. It was near enough. What is this too much beer concept? Does not compute. Yeah, I agree. Like, who has too much beer? Anyway, I'm going to quickly go through them anyway, just to remind you guys what we've got coming up. The main one I'm waiting for is, I know that I think it's going to probably arrive in January. There's the Scandal one coming, and I really want to get the Scandal poster up there as well, so that we can just have everything nicely visually displayed. I will admit, I'm going to use this just to annoy CMC. This was one of the small ones that came in a publication, but there will be a bit of perfume on there just to annoy CMC. What else have we got? So, as you guys know, yep, we've got the Bish one. Bish will be on there. We've got Silent Siren. We all know this is coming up there. We've got... obviously, we all know this is going up there. And last but not least is the new entry, for which I have to say some special thank yous. But this arrived a couple of days ago. I think this is absolutely lovely. So massive, massive thanks. I don't know if I'm allowed to call out by name who sent this, but you know who you are. And this is absolutely wonderful. I know some people don't like being called out by name, but yeah, I think that's fantastic. So I really appreciate that. Hi from Japan. Hello, you're in Japan as well. Well, welcome very much to Japan, where you already are. Let's have a little look. I'll be honest, I'm not overly sure what producers actually do because the band and music play. This is actually something I'm doing a series of videos, and they're all going to be like sort of 1 or 2, maybe 3, depending on it, but really short, simple videos explaining musical concepts really simply. And one of the things I'm going to do is talk about what people in music actually do. What does a manager actually do? What does a producer do? What does an executive producer do? What do these people actually do? Because often the definitions are either much more simple or much more complicated than people think. And there are very simple ways to explain it. And one of the things I'm doing with the studio thing is I'm explaining how, what these people's names would be if they worked in another job. So basically, what you think of what is a producer. A producer is the equivalent of what a movie director is. They don't write it, they don't perform it, they don't do any of that stuff, but they have a very central appeal in how it looks. Basically they're the ones who know how it's presented to you. And then I'll explain how they do that with the use of effects, suggesting that the bands change certain sounds or certain things. So basically they don't change the core of what it is. And also very similarly to a movie director, they're the one who influences the artist, who motivates the artist and says, okay, this is how we're going to work. This is how the schedule's going to be. This is our time schedule. This is what you have to do. So a producer kind of has that role. They are like a movie director, which is why producers are held in such high regard. I mean, it is very similar. You take a movie and you have a well-written movie and you give it to a bad director and it will still be like, well, this is a good story, but it's just like it's kind of not nicely presented. Same thing with a band. You give a good band to a bad producer and it will come out sounding a bit like, either it's too much. It's like, oh, what's with all these effects? Or it's too bland and you're like, oh, it just sounds like nothing's going on, it's like sounds washy. The producer has a very important role and it is kind of hard to explain, but that's one of the videos I'm going to be doing. There's lots of these little things, and that's another reason why I'm buying myself time to do this kind of thing. So in regards to your personal comments on compressing the sounds, that's the producer's call. Very good comment. There are 2 layers to compression. Now, the compression that most people don't complain about, and in fact, most people don't really even notice, depending on the instrument, is imagine you've got, you've probably all seen what it looks like when people make music, right? You get your screen and you have little line, and each line is a different instrument, or basically just a different part of the recording. And the producer has controls over each one, can make one louder, one quieter, can add effects to it. Now, equally, it's very common that each one will have its own compression. So the guitar will have some compression. The drums will have a different type of compression, maybe a bit lighter or a bit heavier. The voice will usually have a lot of compression. There's these sorts of things are done. And then you have the final layer, which is the mastering. This is very much a dark art. Mastering is the hardest one of all of them to describe, although effectively it's the simplest one to do. But mastering, then the last person who takes it, this is after the producer, after the mixer, after everyone who basically does anything creative. So the mastering person, I'm going to say, isn't really a creative person. They then take the recording and they do overall effects that affect everything. They're not like playing with individual sounds. They've got the whole thing, it's finished, and they do things that affect everything. And that's when usually the main thing they do is compression. And it's usually during that mastering phase where everything becomes, too squashed. Mastering has some interesting things in it. I mean, there are some good things, like, for example, if you've got a really well-mixed album, but just the whole sound of the band, a lot of the sounds are very rumbly and bassy, and there's a lot of chugging sounds, then sometimes even with the best producer and mixer, you can end up with a song that does sound a little bit too heavy on the bottom end. And mastering, they can take that finished recording and they can do like simple EQ like you would on your car stereo or your home stereo even, to just change it in a way that results in it being more overall balanced. But usually mastering is a very subtle process But the most unsubtle thing is sometimes people who get it and they just squash. Here comes the compression. So isn't the compression thing down to mix? Very good question. Very, very good question. So I'm just going to quickly see what Bub said. We are just waiting for your deep dive into stock, Aiken and Waterman Howard. In time, sir. In time. That's on my alternate channel. I'll have an alternate channel for that. So what Elizabeth is saying about the compression in the mix is very true. Now, the compression, like I say, I mean, two ways. You can do it on individual sounds. This is correct. But usually the biggest thing about doing compression in the mix is kind of what I think Hannah's talking about here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the mix can directly affect the compression. So sometimes you'll actively mix something knowing what the compression will do to it, knowing that it's going to be compressed afterwards. So often, a lot of the time, when the mix is doing the mix, they will turn the voice up louder than it really should be, knowing that the voice is usually the thing that gets impacted most by compression. Because imagine when you squash all those sounds down on each other like a car compactor crushing a used car, it's the weaker materials, the materials with less thickness, usually the human voice, that get most destroyed. Things like guitars that come from an electrical source tend to have more power. And when they're compressed, therefore, they come out as the stronger thing and they tend to overwhelm everything, which is why very compressed hard rock can often sound just like everything is guitar with a few sounds peeking a limb out like, hear me. So as a result, I think what Hannah's getting at, and I think this is a very, very big issue, is that people often mix, or engineers often mix to complement the upcoming compression. Now, the biggest thing of that is with the EQ. Again, do I have my little drawing pad? I do have my little drawing pad. I want to try and make a visual example of this. Sorry, I'm leaning over. You must be seeing horrible vision of my gut. Apologies. Actually, I've got a piece of paper there. I could use that instead. It's a bit better. All right, so I'm just going to draw a little example for you. So you got your EQ. It's going to be really hard to do this on the fly, by the way. And plus, I think the camera's too bright. See if I can turn that down so you can see this properly. No. Okay, there we go. So you got your EQ. So this is your low to your high. Imagine everything's flat. Then you put like a little area where a sound is turned up. This is really bad drawing. Apologies for this. So maybe you'll have, let's say this is your bass. So here you'll have the bass guitars turned up here. Around here, the guitar will be turned up. Around here, maybe the vocals towards the higher end are turned up. So that in the overall mix, they have a little, sorry, I'm completely gone now. I'm just a silhouette. But they have more impact in a certain region, the area where you want a particular sound to have definition. Now, what realistically happens, though, is you have a lot of sounds. So what you actually get in your EQ is like these areas where certain sounds overlap. So you might have an area here where, let's say that's the voice and that's the guitar. And this area, the voice and the guitar are overlapping each other. Now, what that basically means is if you are then doing, let me just turn that back up a bit. If you're then doing a song with a lot of compression, it's those areas where the EQ of two instruments matches, where you'll get the most compressing, basically. You'll get sounds falling in on top of each other and kind of muting each other. And that's where, like I said, the vocals suffer a lot, especially in male songs. In female songs, less so, because the voice tends to rise above the louder instruments like guitars in the EQ. But in a more male song, often the voice, obviously being quite a few notes lower, gets in between the guitars, and you get more of a compression. Actually, is more damaging to male rock songs than female rock songs in pretty much every example, because of that overlap. So often, what the engineer will do is they'll mix things thinner. So the area where the EQ is high on one sound is thinner. So a lot of the times you guys have said you've heard bands where like the voice, you say, oh, it sounds so much better live. But when you hear it on the recording, the voice is so thin. That's the reason why. The engineer is actually mixing the EQ to be thinner so as to let you hear the voice more, so that it's not so much crushed and squashed under other instruments that they also want to accent. So yeah, I mean, what Hannah's saying is a big point, and this is one that you could. I'm pretty sure there are people who've written whole books about this, because it comes down to a lot to opinion. There is no right or wrong answer. But the type of music and the musicians you're working in, like I say, male or female, what layout of bands and sounds you have, instrumentalists and sounds you have a huge effect on this. But mixing can affect mastering and compression hugely as well. So let me just keep on some of the comments, because I've been waffling a little bit. Sorry. Old school PowerPoint. Yeah, sorry, that's not the best visual example I could have done. I am planning to do something a lot more convincing than that for the little tutorial videos I'm going to be doing. And like I said, the whole point of those tutorial videos is I've seen some of the tutorials that people give people before. In fact, I tried to suggest when I was teaching music, I tried to suggest some of them to some of my students, and I looked at them, I was like, all of it's a bit snobby. All of it kind of just assumes that everyone knows everything about music. But there's a lot of people who love music, listen to it all the time, but really know nothing about how it goes together. So it's nice to give people no pretension, no pretense. Just here is the very layman's terms of how it works. If you want to ask more, ask more. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. So old school PowerPoint all the way. Producer is too cool to touch buttons. That's his job. Good producer will touch more buttons than any other person. A good producer will do a lot of button pushing. Let's have a look at it. Evil Bubs, compression equals producer this, depression artist thing, suppression equals copyright strikes. Can't wait for the next class. You've learned so much, my young Padawan. Whatever. I think I saw those drawings on some cave walls. Yeah, that was me trying to explain it to Caveman. As you can see, they started doing that all up, doing beats with clubs. That's where the club beat came from. Ta-da! The awful humor here never stops. Purple, tutorial would be good. I do sometimes, I get a little lost in your reviews, like when you went into compression on the bandmates. Yeah, this is the difference, because I know that when I do those reviews, often out of necessity, I'll start talking about a concept. What these tutorials are is it's a scripted thing, it's an edited thing, it's a proper video. This is one of the reasons why they'll be quite short as well. But it's a proper video where we actually do talk about the subject, properly. I'm just changing some of the effects here at the same time, because I do think that's important. I don't want to be that sort of extremely patronizing person who talks down to people, and neither do I want to make it seem like everyone knows everything all the time. So these will be properly edited videos so that hopefully people can really understand these concepts without feeling patronized or bothered with jargon and rubbish. Just something nice and easy that you can consume and understand. Anyway, as I'm up to date with the comments, I'm going to take another quick swig. The goodness. Also, actually, I kept some rather novel, including the Funashi beer can. I kept some of the funny cans. I'm going to include them in my set design as well. Some old novel Japanese beer cans will be in the design as well. Maybe some coffee ones as well, just so you guys know it's really me. And also, actually, one of the things I've got is, along with all those posters, there is a rather large piece of card or two that I have. And I was thinking I might write something on these so that people can, something else that can go on the wall behind me. Have some sort of labeled title or something. No, I guess the current thing to do is write your social media extensions on there, but that feels very cold and boring. I'm sure we can think of something interesting to do. If the tutorials are proper videos, does that make the reviews improper anything? Another thing I have to confess. Yeah, okay, my wording was a bit bad there, wasn't it? I think there is a kind of a separation between a proper video, as in a video that is designed more in a video sense, sort of directed, scripted, written, produced correctly as a product, and then a reaction review, which is more just like sort of, you join someone, they listen to it, they talk about it. This is the reason why this is one of the many reasons why I don't have cut edits in the videos I do, because that's not really what it's about. I'm not trying to pretend to be some flashy, cool video kind of guy. It's just like, look, here's me talking about the song. Here's me giving a genuine, unedited, unfiltered, unengineered opinion about what I hear. So yeah, it's a proper video in that it is sound and images designed for publication. However, it is not what you'd call a designed video. Is that the best way of wording it? I don't know. You've asked a question that's too complicated for me to answer, but I hope the point comes across. Daisy disguised poster board. Oh, maybe. Is that the one? I just pull it away. Oh, Daisy is here. Well, the reviews don't include the song listened to 7 times. So really our reviews more an impression. Yeah, okay. Ever since that comment first dropped, I should have never have brought that up. But yes, it is true. I was schooled. It is exactly. It's not no more. If you listen to it 8 times, then it's no longer a reaction. You have to listen to it 7 times. I was told that, and it must be true. Let's have a look and see what else we say. Purple Heart says video with some kind of production value. Yeah, pretty much. The only production value I put into my normal videos is that I try and mix the audio properly. So I guess in that way they're produced, and I do the color editing just to make them a little bit more because the lighting in my room is not that great, so I just like to make it look really over the top, and it gives it a bit of an identity. I did a lot of reading about sort of good social media practices and things, because I thought, this is a media that I haven't really worked in before, and one of the things they always say is try and give like a visual identity, kind of have a weird color editing style or something is usually a good thing, because it makes it easier for people to recognize your videos and sort of call back to them more, kind of like a subliminal effect, I think. You can list lyrics of the day and we could guess from what song or banana that it's from. Banana? Band, I'm assuming. I'm assuming you mean band. That's kind of cool, actually. Maybe I could like translate some lyrics and then give you the translation and see if you can guess it. 1362 is back. Hello, sir. Hello. Welcome back, sir. It's nice. There's a lot of people here today, which is always good. Well, there's 16 people, which is a healthy number. We're usually sort of somewhere between 10 and 20, which is always good. Always good amount of people for a good chat. Bubs, sounds more like a review than a dementia patient. What? Sounds more like a review. Sounds more like a review from a dementia patient, which already makes it a more creative endeavor than what we do. Than what we do? I thought you were talking about what we do. Okay. Care in the community, Japan style. Yes, indeed. I think I've completely lost track of where this conversation is going, which is amazing. So I had to refresh stream and it removed my like. I put it back on. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. Backer gives back. I again, I don't know what we're talking about. But that's lovely to hear that my virtues are being credited across the board so wonderfully. So what else have we got? So I think you guys pretty much know which albums are coming up for reaction. That's all fine. I showed you the extra Silent Siren albums that we got the other day, which is good, which means that I'm pretty much ready to do an entire career listen through to them as well as Scandal. We're pretty well prepared for things to do, but like I said, there's some really cool specials coming up as well. I'm just gonna have a look at some of these comments. Interesting things coming up. Hannah, if there's a lyric of the day, I'm gonna just guess Judy and Mary until it is, no matter how long it takes. You see, now you're, it's almost like you're tempting me to wind you up. I'm just going to find lyrics that seem a lot like Judy and Mary, but maybe aren't Judy and Mary, and just put them in. Well, now that we have the community page, actually, I can do that. So maybe I should do that on the community page, because you can post crap on there, and it seems to just be. I'm going to say the same thing about the community page that I said about the live stream when I first started doing it, which is my primary concern is that I don't want to annoy people who are just here just to enjoy, music listen throughs by blasting them with stuff that they don't really care about. But I think the community page is fine, isn't it? Just shares things that you can easily scroll past. Sven, another topic. I had the feeling you don't like political songs so much. Oh, that's an interesting one. My feeling towards political songs is that I like a political song if it genuinely seems to really mean it. I think that political songs are just, there's so many bad political songs. I mean, really nauseating songs. And worst of all, there's so many really ill-informed political songs. And to me, I mean, especially nowadays, we hear so much about politics from people who have not done their research, that backing it up with someone singing it just kind of makes it really painful. I mean, this is why stuff like Rage Against the Machine I kind of liked, because, okay, even though you don't have to necessarily agree with their politics, this is a guy who spends an insane amount of time getting his head into politics. Yes, he's very much believes one thing from one angle, but he believes it, he researches it, he does his work, and then he sings with passion about it. So that I can respect. But then when you hear some really flimsy cash in, let's get everyone on our side type of, fluffy, or just one where someone tries to be angry, but it's clear that they're not really 100% aware of what they're singing about, they're just kind of triggered. So political songs are a difficult subject. I'd say the vast majority I think are rubbish, but a good political song can be one of the best types of song that you can get. It can be one of the most charged and energetic ones that you can make. Zinth is back. Hi, sir, how do you do? Hello, how are you doing today? Apologies when people say that they're here, it takes me a long time to notice them, but hello anyway. Let's have a look. Everyone's in with that. So Harry, let's have a look. Except for French bears performing live guitar solos with dolphins. What is the whole thing about dolphins? I'm not 100% sure how dolphins come into any of this. Someone's gonna have to let me know what exactly we're talking about with dolphins here. Koalas, so long as they're not bears, I'm fine with that. Let's have a look here. So, is Joseph and Mary considering the season? Oh, Judy, yeah. I got it. That took me a while. Simply, the community page is not usable until you post. Correct. No bias. Caveats. So I have to post first to make it usable. I'm pretty sure it's usable. Well, nonetheless, I mean, you guys are welcome to use it if you want, but I'll start posting in there. I think that often the Discord is like a bit of a clubhouse. It's where people who are really spend a lot of time with the channel and really involved in the channel kind of go a lot to the Discord. So, and the Reddit is kind of like an area where people can it's more like the index of the channel where people can leave things and comment on things. So the community tab's really a good place for people to do more casual things, like you're saying, like a lyric suggestion thing would be a really cool idea. Purple, being UK at the moment, I'm doing all I can to avoid politics. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a person with very strong political opinions, and usually the problem is my strong political opinions are not hugely biased either way. They tend to have a mix of different things. So I've become very tired as well with listening to people talk about politics recently, because everyone seems to be so polarized. There's no finesse, there's no finesse, there's no nuance or detail to any argument. People just, I hate this, I hate that. If you don't agree with this, you are this. If you don't agree with that, you are that. It's really tiring, because I just feel a lot of the time that, and this is one of the reasons why political songs can be an issue, is because political songs obviously very much believe in one singular idea, and therefore if you're bringing that kind of thing, especially in these very polarized political times that we live in, it can be really nauseating. And I think we were talking about the other day about sort of movies, and there's been a lot of talk recently about movies with political agendas, and I always find that I don't like when people read a political agenda that isn't into a movie into it. Like, some movies are just fun, it's like leave it alone, but there are some movies that genuinely do stick a political agenda in, and usually it's just like, I don't need this, I'm trying to watch a movie. So I think that politics is just a problematic thing, because we are all so involved in it these days that, and we all have to have an opinion. And a lot of the time, the best opinion is accepting that it's a very difficult question to talk about, and that there is nuance. Some things are black and white, some things are gray. So yeah, I don't really, as much as I get anyone can express whatever they feel, I don't really need or want politics in my art. I don't want that in music or movie or anything. It's just like, not interested, just rather they would back off with that kind of thing. So I'm 100% with you, man. Although I just backed up what you said by waffling about politics for 5 minutes. So Bubs, okay, so what people are looking for is a pro-bear song that how political informed, feels to have a drink, have some lyrics, how do. Yeah, go on, do it. So an Asian Kung Fu generation has some political. Oh god, hiccups really bad. It's always these really interesting ones are really sugary. I think that's the problem. Sorry. Asian Kung Fu Generation has some political songs about topics like environment and peace. Yeah, like I say though, that depends on where is that done politically. If you're basically saying if you're doing a song about how the environment's good and how peace is good, fine. It depends on are you then attacking someone? I guess the environment's more of a simple one because we can all kind of agree environment is an important thing and more needs to be done about it. But then again, there's a lot of people who could argue about the way we approach it. I think the environment's probably one of the easiest ones to actually talk about in a political song. But I don't know. I mean, I can't see myself getting emotionally charged up about the environment because it's just kind of like such a black and white issue. Like, yeah, it kind of needs to be saved. That's kind of like that's not something I can really get particularly emotionally charged about because it's like either they're going to do it or they're not. I think it was actually the American TV scientist guy Bill Nye who made a really interesting point on an interview not so long ago where he was actually saying the problem is that everyone so fascinated in these tiny little gestural things they do that no one looks at the larger issue of the political changes. But when they look at that, then everyone becomes emotionally so anti-government, and it becomes overly political again. So it's very difficult to just have a reasoned conversation about it. So even with something like politics about the environment and peace, and yeah, if you're talking about peace, it's like, what's the song going to be? Is the song going to be everyone who goes to war is evil? Because then the question is, well, what do you let people invade your land? This is the problem: is that when you start getting into politics, you have to then accept that politics is not a simple black and white issue. That there's a lot of circumstances, and writing a song about it, unless you've got a very localized example that you want to talk about, it becomes something which can really affect music in a poor way. So political songs can be good, but it's very rare. CMC. Pro Bear, Pro Dolphin. Why is it? I've never ever voiced any problem about dolphins. What the hell is going on there? Bears can go to hell. Dolphins, I like. Ooh, you're weird. Ferocia Koala, French Pro Live performance song needed. And live music as well. I like live music. I just don't want to review it. That's all. Discord. Thank you, Harry. I like the fact that Harry always mentions the Discord. And yeah, guys, if you're not on the Discord, then get on there. Maybe we can have these kind of conversations all the time. It's great. Just not right now. I'm doing live stream. But Back of Bear channel, Pro Bear, Yogi Bear was misunderstood. Oh, Bubs, if you didn't watch that last review and you just mentioned Yogi Bear, that's one hell of a coincidence. Hannah, I had to kill my Reddit Discord stream accounts. I work from home now. Oh, you kind of like the distraction element. I mean, anyone who's probably been following this for a while knows that I actually have a couple of different computers that I use. I've got loads of it's like a museum of computers in here. But I've got a couple of laptops, and one of them is for that kind of thing. So as a result, I can, if I really don't have time to use Discord and that sort of thing, I just close that one and I do all the work on this one. So I keep my computers separate. If that's what you're saying, I totally agree. Once again, I can see the point in that. So Zoc says, poly, many ticks, parasites. That's politics of today. Poly, many ticks. Politics. That was clever. I like that. That was cool. I like that. Pebble, I sometimes wonder how many people actually listen to the messages in these political songs or just do it because they sound, I never had my views swayed by a song. Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, these people often are not exactly the greatest orators of political point. But the thing is like I say, if you're just listening to the music, then it becomes a bit distracting because it's like, well, when you know the feeling of the song, you get the feeling. Maybe it gives you a certain feeling, but you hear that. I mean, Rage Against the Machine is a good example. People just listen to it to rock out, and most of them don't really understand or care what it's about. So I guess that's one example. But yeah, interesting point. CMC, of course, the exception is PFP's magnum opus, Save the Tree. I think they're going to call that song "Save the Universe" because for them, would they even do a song about it? I mean, it's such an arbitrary function for PFP. They could do it like that, just save everything. They don't care. It's relaxing on their tour bus is the only reason there's all these world problems, because they just couldn't be bothered to get around to it yet. Let's have a little look. Sorry, I'm falling a bit behind on the comments. Sven says the singer attacks the government. He said the prime minister is a capital monster in 1980, or in N2 no nukes. He criticizes that Japan still uses power plants. Yeah, see, this is the problem. These issues are way too complicated for a song. I appreciate people letting out their own opinion, but for me, it can become rather alienating, because I do not believe half the time that singers are qualified to really talk about these issues. And often they talk with such a sort of brazen confidence that I'm like, well, all right, if you really believe that so much, why aren't you actually involved in politics? A lot of it, I think, is for show or just a kind of a uninformed outburst. But that's, like I said, I'm giving a generalization, but I do think it is the majority of political songs. Bullets is like Cokes. I'd like to teach the world to sing protest at its finest. Yeah, let's sit about that a bit better. Doug, hello, Doug. I don't have any official lyrics to back this up, but I think the Yogi Bear lyric is actually "You'll be there." You're probably right, actually. Do you know what? I was looking through that at the time, but I don't think the words "you'll be there" come up in the chorus. But I'm going to see if I can find it. Just while I'm doing that, at least I've seen singing in my car. Fair enough. Hi, please try and keep the language on here polite, please, and limit the swearing. Yeah. If anyone's, that's why the message was taken out. Yeah, if anyone's being sort of sweary and rude, just remember there's a lot of people in here. We're all adults and everything, but let's keep it nice. Dolphinism against Tamami and not speaking of her stunning, awesome speaking vocals. Hey, it's just because I don't recognize whose voice is whose yet. All right, you could say that's hate against everyone, and I credited Tamami more than anyone else on that album, in all fairness. So let's have a look here. Just looking through the lyrics, just reading the Japanese to see if anything actually looks like Yogi Bear. I've had time to fly. Oh, ite. Oh, ite. Ite. No, dare. Yo, dare. It's dare. It's not bear. It's dare. Yo, ite. Yo, ite. My version's better. Let's have a look here. So, oh wow, the lyrics are going so fast now. Sorry, the words are going so fast. I'm going to have to scroll up and just have a look and see what everyone is saying. Doug, I love that we have now started a misheard protest lyrics section. Yes, this. Hey, you're not my supervisor. Wait, this is getting confusing. I think we're all talking on cross conversations. No, thank God I am not. I think a few of them had a t-shirt saying something similar. Well, yeah, I think we're all talking on cross conversations here. Sorry, my apologies. That's absolutely fine, sir. That's fine. CMC, big seller with some marketing. Yeah, I think conversations have got really crossed here. Now I don't know what's going on. Let me keep on going. I just got a comment on one of the videos. I bought the video on iTunes, so I don't have any lyric sheets to confirm, but I think the Yogi Bear is actually "You'll Be There" at least. Oh, someone's actually written in the comments. Was that you again? Oh, anyway, looking here, it's not "You'll Be There." It is actually Japanese, and it's "Yoi There." Yoi There. I'll check that out though. I'll translate to find out what that means, because I don't recognize the kanji, but "Yoi There." Let's have a look here. Let us discuss the gentlemen here and ladies, of course. Very polite. Matt, one thing I like about J-Rock is the lack of... Oh, and by the way, hello, Matt. One thing I like about J-Rock is the lack of politics, and one of the reasons I think J-Rock is going to be huge in the West in a couple of years. Won't have to worry about hearing a political rant at... I think partly... I think that as a general, we're entering this rather interesting phase where international music has more of a place. And I do think that Japanese music will get better. I think ultimately there will always be an element of things sort of fusing together. But I think that Japanese music will always be, to a certain degree, a niche thing. But I think the reason why a lot of people like it is actually because they don't understand the lyrics at all. I think there's a lot of the more casual people who go to the concerts. They just kind of like the fact that they can just sort of rock out and enjoy it without having to engage too much with the topic. Because if you think about it, if you don't actually understand the lyrics to a song, then no song is alienating. Any song can mean whatever it feels like it should mean to you. And I do think this is a big part of why non-English speaking language music is able to spread in other countries, is because of that fact that every song can basically mean whatever you want it to mean. And on a few occasions, like I mentioned with Yoshida-san by Silent Siren, you can listen to a song, and then when you find out the lyrics, actually it makes it a million times better. But a lot of the time, I think it's just a case of the song becomes whatever you want it to be. Let's have a look here. I think Howard started. I still don't know what you guys are talking about there. Matt, can you do the occasional J-Rock top 10 bands? Well, that's an interesting one. I'll tell you why that might be difficult. I would be really interested to do something like that. The problem with labeling top bands, first of all, is when it comes to rock, you've got the whole genre thing. And I'd have to be able to work out how to draw a line between rock and metal. Because the problem is when we get into metal, I think metal's very difficult because what a lot of people consider to be good metal, I don't consider to be good music. I really like metal as a genre, but I think that sometimes a lot of metal fans just think that the more twiddly and loud it is, the better it is. And then we can end up in that conversation, which I don't want to get into. The best metal to me tends to be the stuff where they really embrace the sort of charge and the energy and the impact of the genre, but in a way that kind of balance is better. So I would have to keep it specifically to rock, and then if I kept it to rock, yeah, like I say, maybe I could do something like that. I think also that I might be accused of a little bit of bias, because the truth is that I do think most of the best rock bands have female vocalists, and I've stated the reason for this before is because when you've got rock, there's so much sound in that sort of deeper, low, mid-range area that having a male voice actually, for me, is less suitable for rock. I think rock sounds better with a female voice that sits on top of the guitars and pierces through and has more of a leading energy to it. So I could be accused of a lot of bias, but maybe I might do that on a sort of musical level. Like my opinions for maybe the best writing rock bands is maybe something I could do, like the bands who are rock bands who are writing the best music. I might do that. It's an interesting point, but I have to give a thought of how to do it, because I don't want it to come across as something whereas I'm deliberately being opinionatedly pretentious. I want to actually have an angle where I can give an informed and justified reason for my list. But good point. Interesting. I'll think about that. I've still got to update my Baby Metal top 10 to add the new Metal Galaxy album to that. Let's have a look and see what else we've got here. So CMC, January 2020, international version of Conqueror with translated and transliterated lyrics. I heard something about this coming out, actually. I heard it from a website that curiously stated, and it was a website that seems to be edited by someone who's commented on our videos before, actually. But the website stated that Conqueror was Bandmaid's third album. I was like, yeah, no. But yeah, otherwise it was all factually accurate. But yeah, I read on there that they were doing a transliterated version. I'm not 100% sure how that comes across, but yeah, that's an interesting point. I might use that for the lyrics competition. I look forward into 6 months. So also your top scandal list as well as your revised Baby Metal list. Well, the Baby Metal one obviously comes sooner. I wanted to get that done before the end of the year, but it depends on, maybe I can do that. We'll see how it goes. But when you said about the top 10 scandalous, I mean, considering the number of albums, if you think about it, each one track by track done as a daily thing can last about 2 weeks. Then I've got to do another album between. So I guess each album's going to take about a month. It could take almost a year to get through all of their albums. Let's be 100% clear on that. But yeah, I am really looking forward to that. But that will take a vast amount of research. But yeah, that's a good one. And top 10 worst Baby Metal Bandmaid Scandal, etc. songs. I thought about that before. There was an interesting thing that I was reading, well, actually, sorry, not reading, hearing on another channel from a fellow who does reviews, but movie reviews, not music reviews. And he was actually saying that he used to do like sort of worst lists and best lists, but he said that he stopped doing worst lists. And the reason he stopped doing them is because he felt that it was clickbait. because the problem with doing a worst list is he said that as someone who'd worked he worked in the movie industry, and he was saying that his issue was that he looked at it and he thought, well, this is still something that someone's made. Someone put effort into this, and whether it worked or not, someone did actually try and do something good here. So it's kind of dispiriting and not exactly conducive to a good feeling to start making worst lists. And I am inclined to agree. I mean, there's some things I can slag off because I think they're so devoid of effort. I think they're deliberately just trading on cultural value. But if I was to take a band who I really like Bandmade, yes, if you asked me to come up with a top 10 worst songs by a Bandmade, I could do it. But I wouldn't feel good about it. I'd feel quite bad about it because, to be honest, I know that a lot of effort goes into that. I know these are people who are working really hard. And that each time they do a song, they really believe in it. So if I was to do a top 10 worst songs of that, I would feel that it's punishing people for effort, and I don't think I could do that, if I'm honest with you. Certainly, there's things that are bad that I can slag off, maybe more selectively, like top 10 worst songs I've heard this year. Just generally, if there's things that I think are sort of insidiously nasty or just have like a very sort of fake value to them, I could maybe pick out on that, but I would have to really believe in it to do it. So maybe not even an arbitrary figure like 10, just here's a list of the ones that I've noticed that I hate. But, like I say, I would have to really believe in it to do it. Anyways, a lot of comments coming in, which I really appreciate, but I better catch up with them. Purple, when you don't understand the language of lyrics, you focus on the music rather than just listening to the words. Yeah, exactly. I think that's very true. And I think that's one of the real credits to foreign language music. And that's why bands like Bandmade, who are so intricate in their musical quality, can become so famous abroad, because people can appreciate them whatever language they're in. But I do think it also gives a strange universal quality where you can imagine the song to be about whatever it feels like it should be about for you. So I think that's another quality. I think it's actually almost better than having understandable lyrics to some people, to some audiences. Bubs, just admit if you want top 10 reasons why perfume should be banned. Yeah, I think that is exactly what he's going for. He just wants me to populate the list with, he's going to say top 100 worst songs, and he's just going to catalogue all of Perfume. I bet that's what you want me to do. Christian, I didn't see it, but heard The Rise of Skywalker was the flop. I'm going to quickly, I haven't seen it myself, but I mean, I have seen the Rotten Tomatoes score because I am vaguely interested. I've never been a Star Wars fan, but I am someone who, I don't like them creating sequels for the sake of sequels. If you're going to make films, make them for a reason. And every one of my friends who's like been into these films and watched them, they've kind of all come back to me saying the same thing, which is it just kind of feels like they're phoning this stuff in, and that it's just kind of full of, stuff that no one asked for. So, yeah, I would be lying if I said I was really hoping for anything good to come out of it. And I know at least one person who saw it, and they're a very balanced person, and they just said it was boring, convoluted, and they didn't have many good words to say for me. They said that they were kind of glad that the story was finished and they got their final conclusion, but they said it was a real trudge to get there. If you see it and you enjoy it, good for you. Like I say, music and movies, same thing. You can critically pull apart why something is good or bad, but all that really matters is, did you enjoy it? As I pointed out the other day when we were talking about Bandmade, who are in that film that looks a lot like a remake of Crank from what we read, and I said I think Crank is one of the best films ever made. I think it's a beautiful film. I think it's really, really clever. But I know that's not exactly Oscar material right there. It's just that I really love the way that whole film's engineered. So let's have a look here. Matt Tate, or just a recommendation list. I love me and never would have found them without your channel. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, I mean, I think that is one of the things I'm doing, like a sort of a slightly and obviously shammy pseudo awards thing for the end of the year, where I'm going to credit out to certain songs on very sort of ridiculous parameters, and that's my roundabout way of doing a recommendation list. So yeah, I mean, that band I Love Me, I mean, it sounds so biased because I know the singer contacted me on the YouTube, and I know you guys probably all saw that, but I really thought those two songs I've heard them reviewed so far, well, the two that you've seen I've reviewed so far, I really love them. I think they're fantastic, and I can't wait to hear more of the band. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I'm sold on them. And there's another band who I really liked, who I really need to do more by, but they didn't get money views for the review. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. So don't worry, we're far from over, guys. Penguin, 6 months. You're optimistic, Harry. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Zoc, vocal becomes equal to instruments if one has no clue about lyrics, and that's a good thing. In certain contexts, yes. I agree. Some songs, the meaning is very poetical and beautiful, but let's face it, there's more songs with generic lyrics than there are with really good lyrics. So yeah, I agree. Sometimes the voice is an instrument that you can interpret in your own manner is better. Harry, no bias. Don't know what that's in response to, but that is the channel hashtag, my friend. That's the channel hashtag, whether we can keep it or not. Ramaya, free judge. Howard, have you heard of Bride? Okay, I need to apologize right from the get-go. This is the band. This occasionally happens. This is the band who I've screwed up the most on. The number of times this band has been recommended to me, and the number of times I have totally and utterly. I've even got one of their songs on my hard drive that I should be reviewing, and I haven't reviewed. Yeah, look, guys, I just want to say before I read this comment, I so apologize for the fact that hasn't been uploaded yet. It's coming. I promise. They have a new lineup and just released a new album. They have been around for some time, and I don't think you have covered them yet. You're absolutely right. And all I can really say is, again, I am sorry. That is just totally down to me. That's down to me. Guys, troll the hell out of me until I do it. All right? Just don't let up until it's done. Every live chat, come in here and you remind me of that. Bubs. Oh, you're referring to Christian here. Let's put it like this. It will divide all fans, but I have to say overall it was worth it. Best way to describe it is it's the most Star Warsy movie to ever Star Wars. I believe most people have been referring to what you're saying as fan service, and some said it was pandering fan service. Some said it was wonderful fan service. So I think that's the thing. Whether you want a trip down memory lane, again, I haven't seen it, but I've heard some pretty detailed reports. It depends on whether you want a trip down memory lane or whether you actually want something which is going to like wow and shock you and inspire you. But yeah, anyway. So I'm really interested to know what people say. I've just read CMC's hashtag sci-fi death metal album coming soon. Oh, I would love that. Even though it sounds so horrifying, I would love it just in theory. It just sounds so horrifyingly wonderful. Doug Hannon, update. After Googling the lyrics and putting them through Google Translate Yogi Bear. Yogi there means swim. Okay. Yogi there means swim. That's brilliant. That's a nice little context to it. I'm just sorry. I don't disbelieve you, but what I'm doing is I'm actually putting it through Google Translate myself just to check the translation is what I thought it was. Yogi there. Oh, it's Yogi there. Yogi there. Okay. Yogi there. Yogi there. So basically, Yogi Bear, she's talking about Yogi Bear. The song is about Yogi Bear. Don't let the Japanese lyrics dissuade you from the truth. It's a song about Yogi Bear. There you go. Thanks for that. Brian, the first two are considered mini albums. Sorry, I do apologize because I'm quite a long way behind the comments at the moment. I might be slightly misunderstanding them. First two are considered mini albums. Which band are we talking about there? Just quickly checking for when Brian's last comment was. He hasn't tagged anyone directly. Might be talking about Bride here. Okay, sorry about that, Brian. Please, if you can, let me know and I'll catch up with the comments. Bubs has started the Bear Wars. Technically, a CMC says yes, it is the third album as the three albums are classified as mini albums. Okay, guys, let me know what you're talking about. Doug in Romanji Oyoide. Oh, thank you, Doug. Yeah. So Oyoide. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I didn't need to translate that after all. Matt, I would love to hear your take on Broken by the Scream, which is opposite of Babe Metal. Yeah, I did a review of them, and I only did one, and I'll spoiler it for you. I only did one for a reason. I'm honest on this channel, and I did try to see the positive in it, but that was pretty excruciating. That was... You can check out the review. If you type in Broken by the Scream into the channel page, you can search on my channel page. You can find my review of it, and maybe you can suggest a better song that I should listen to. But I just felt it was like like there were good things in it, but it was the most poorly constructed thing I've ever heard. One of the most poorly constructed, that it just didn't go together. It felt really, really like they had all these ideas and no one knew how to put them together. It's like everyone was playing a different song, and not in a cool experimental way, it just didn't gel at all for me. But I only heard one song and I didn't go back to it, and maybe I should have gone back to it, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I'm being a bit of an arse. So Hannah, I don't like worse lists. Who needs the negativity? Yeah, kind of what I mean. I mean, I don't mind if there's something funny. If you're calling out something genuinely which is abhorrent to the music industry, that's fine. But otherwise, I do find it very difficult to really muster up the joy for doing that. There's some things that I think, like I said, there's some things I think are genuinely awful. But it's hard. You really need to have an axe to grind to even step off of that particular pier. So, Harry, we all know CMC's number one hated scandal song, which is actually my current favorite song. And you can call it RBO all you want, but I don't care. The auto tune works fine. It's beautiful. Me and CMC never agree on anything. There have been some Broken by the Screen reviews. Matt Tate, I think, one. I hope we see reactions of the Bondo Bondos. Believe me, Sven, the Bondo Bondo is one of the main reasons I'm doing the scandal thing, just so I have a reason to legitimately approach the Bondo Bondo. And I agreed with Harry that it's probably best that I do that after I've done the second scandal album. So I do 2 scandal albums and then I'll do the Bondo Bondo. But I'm really looking forward to that. As someone who I am a fan of hip hop as well, and doing this channel, we don't have much excuse to listen to hip hop, to be fair, except from World Tour Wednesdays. I know it's going to be parody hip hop. It's not going to be real hip hop, but I've just kind of got to hear it. I can't wait. I'm so excited for that. It's almost kind of like how I felt when Bandmate had the Band Michael EP. I was just dying to hear it. Same thing. CMC, top 10 worst mastered songs. That's a fair one, but to be honest, there's too much competition. And it's not like there's anything which is noticeably worse. There's just a lot of extremely bad ones, a lot of bad ones, a lot of and some just... There are some good mastered songs as well. Doug, the problem with a top 10 worst list for a really good band is that most of the songs would still be good songs, so it seems a bit disingenuous. Yeah, pretty much what I was saying. I think you kind of worded that a bit better there, but yeah, pretty much. And Zoc agrees with Hannah there on that one. Bubs, the only worst... Sorry, I'm reading through this a bit quick, so I am a long way behind the comments, and I really do need to catch up with them for you guys, so I'm not talking way out of turn with what everyone's saying. Bubs, the only worst list should be tongue-in-cheek and about the uploader, or by someone that was forced to listen to. I will play you that Kylie Minogue Japanese rap cover if you ever talk about that song again. Do not talk about Da Pump USA. The song is horrifying. And for anyone who doesn't know, there was a fair period, I'm not playing that song if you haven't heard it, but if you have heard that rather nauseating American obsessed, it would make an American person cringe song by the Japanese boy band Da Pump called USA. There was a period where because of this, children would come up to me and sing that to me in the street. Seriously, that's why I made Bubbles suffer it as well, because I needed to share the pain. I couldn't suffer alone. But yeah, that that came not long after PPAP, which at least that was fun when people started doing pen, pineapple, apple, pen jokes in the street. I could deal with that. And it wasn't because of this. It was just people, it was the only English some people knew, so they wanted to sing it at you. But yeah, no, never talk about that song again. All right, I need to catch up on these comments. Harry, Sven, he said he wants to do at least 2 yeah, sorry, you already said that. My apologies. I'm repeating what people already said. This is why I need to catch up. CMC, the 2019 Howard Award show, black tie required. I have got a suit there. I think I'm going to suit up for it. I'll suit up properly. Okay, I'll get a smart hat and everything. Oh, I like that. It's a good idea. That's cool. I'm gonna ham it up really bad because the categories are just stupid, but it's really fun. Sven, okay, thanks. Yeah, sorry. Bubs, just black tie and not shown in public. Just black tie. Nothing but a black tie. You have to pay me extra for that. That's a private video. Seriously, position of tie is up to the individual, like Rambo style, around my head. I'll do it like that. Hannah, haven't worn a tie since school. May I stick with a gown? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to pull off a gown. Wouldn't work for me. But you can wear whatever you want. Purple. People are always so obsessed with lists. I mean, I've done a list before, and I intend to do more because I think a list is. I don't like them as just sort of opinion baiting, clickbait sort of thing, but I think they're a very good form of conversation starter. Like, one of the reasons I like doing the Baby Metal one so much was because when I put my number one, I think most of you guys already know number one. If you don't, cover your ears. But when I said it was Yava was my number one song for them, I thought that was a really interesting conversation starter, and I put like some quite high up that a lot of people maybe didn't expect, and it was a good conversation starter because it made people start thinking about what do you value most from this band? What is it about this band that we actually value? So in some contexts it can work, but yes, I agree. There are some sort of like you get like the Watch Mojo-y things that are just playing on just like here's a top 10 of everything, just so you nauseatingly watch along, waiting to see what number one is, and that doesn't really serve so much of a purpose. So yeah, there is a bit of an obsession with it. That would be fine. Oh, CMC's approving the dress code now. JWS is back. Hello, sir. Hi, all been a while. Quick visit again. Football is always on when we do this, man. Did you see Mammy doing karaoke on her? She sounds awful. If that was the one of her doing Saisho Hikimi, then yes, I did see that, and I thought it was funny. But yeah, weird. Bubs, I'm going as Frank and Furter. CMC Bandmaid's first 3 releases are classified as mini albums. Oh, okay. So this is why you're saying that it's their third full album. Classification as mini? No, it's not a mini album. Nah, they got too many tracks to be mini albums. Wait a second. Sorry, I completely refute that. It might be the official statement, but that sounds like total nonsense to me. So I'm going to check that out right now. What are we talking about track-wise here? 10. Well, this is the re-release. Says 10 tracks of Made in Japan. It's 8 tracks otherwise. 9 tracks on New Beginning. 8 tracks on Brand New Made. Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah, they're short. They're short for albums, but mini albums are a bit of an absurd thing to call them, in my opinion. And again, I know that might be the official terminology, but I think we have to be realistic because mini album, I mean, that sounds like an arbitrary phrase because, you have an EP. They're too long to be an EP. And calling them a mini album just sounds like a short album. It doesn't seem like it shouldn't officially change the classification just because it's 1 track less than a standard album. I'm not buying into that. It might be the official terminology, and if it's the official terminology, that's absolutely fine. You're welcome to say it, but I think that sounds stupid, in my opinion. They're albums, in my opinion. I'm calling them albums. Sorry, that just sounds like the weirdest thing I've ever heard. If you say mini album, I think of an EP. I think 6 tracks, 4, 5, 6. That sounds good. 8 tracks. There's nothing mini about that, And their songs it's not like they do punk length songs. A lot of the songs in there are relatively lengthy. So let's have a look here. EP. Oh yeah, Bubs just said the same thing. EP. Now something in between EP and album seems to be particularly Japanese. I've mainly heard of that from Korea, actually, the mini album phrase. And in Korea, a mini album's like 6 tracks. Maybe 7 at a push, but no, I mean, I'm not willing to believe that there is something between an EP and an album. So it's either a long EP or it's a short album. So we don't need a definition to go there. We don't need an extra definition. I don't know that. Interesting. Yeah, I had never seen it either. Yeah, so I mean, I'm guessing the reason you guys hadn't seen it before is because it's absurd. But it's clearly someone has decided this is a definition that needs to exist. Mate, one thing about J-Rock I like as well is how earnest the performances are. Americans might say cheesy. There appears to be too cool irony. Yeah, okay, that's a big point. I think there's a lot. You tend to find that, I mean, Japan has the full range. They can do cheese, and they can do it willingly. But often even the same band can then turn around and do something incredibly serious and incredibly heartfelt. There is a genuine like I said, as an integrity. And this is one of the things I was saying about Silent Siren. I mean, you know, people could easily sort of pick up, oh, Silent Siren, they're poppy, their lead singer's got a high-pitched voice, they do these fluffy songs, they dance around and everything. But you listen to them, seriously listen to them, there is a lot of integrity. I will go back to that song Yoshida-san, which, like I say, is not their most musically amazing, but it just has so much heart in it. I mean, you really feel for that song when you understand it. And the way, you know, she's got a high-pitched voice, when she sings, there's a lot of feeling in her voice. And then they can turn around and do something absurd, like even more so than Koi no Espa, stuff like Cherry Bomb, which is just like totally ridiculous and cheesy but catchy. That is the difference. Very few American bands can pull that off, but that's not to say no American bands can do that. Some can. I sometimes reference, actually, one of the interesting ones is probably one of the musically least talented and yet one of the most interesting American bands is actually The Offspring, in my opinion, because if you see the actual musicianship on offer to them, they are not the most talented musicians. And yet they have a very good ability to craft different moods and tones into their songs, write songs that have a very different feel, and they do that with a lot less ammunition in their pocket. They managed to pull off quite an interesting selection. And then you move on to stuff like Foo Fighters, where there's a lot more talent on offer, still nowhere near, in my opinion, as much as Bandmade. And yet they can, again, they utilize that to do very different and interesting songs. So this is not to say that Western bands can't do that, but it is certainly in low, very low supply, where ego is much more important. Just, again, that can be the same in both cultures, but I agree the balance is much more heavily in favor of Japan. Jeff, JWS, should I say? Lastly, what the hell has happened to Baby Metal? The recent song is garbage, crap, poo. Which one? Da Da Dance. I'm guessing you're just following from the singles. Yeah, I don't think it's garbage, if I'm honest with you. I think it's different. But yeah, I think the whole tone of this recent album is likely to alienate a lot of people who liked a certain part. I think there was, like I say, there's a sort of Venn diagram that you can draw between at least the last two albums. Certainly, I think all three to a degree, but certainly between the last two albums, there's a Venn diagram you can draw where there's certain things that both albums do, like collective qualities that people will love of both of them, but there's certain people outside of that middle of the Venn diagram who will absolutely hate either of the opposite albums. So they're interesting in that they have some very strong connections and some very strong differences. So I'm not surprised that some people absolutely hate the new album, but credit on them for doing something different at least. Free Monkeys, hello. As you like, Bandmate, would you go and see them? Yeah, I'm going to see them in February. If anyone's available in Tokyo, I will be at the show on February the 13th. I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you very much for asking. I want to see them more than once, but I'm going to see them at least once. I'm going to see them. We've built up to that for a long time, but I've managed to get hold of tickets, and I'm going to be seeing them on February the 13th. Yay! My Valentine's Eve with Bandmade. Harry. But again, thank you for asking, Free Monkeys. I really appreciate that. I don't think that Mami Sasaki, official YouTube channel, is her just so I'm pretending to be her. I'm presuming Mami Sasaki is the full name of the lady from Scandal. Again, I'm still learning about them. I'm only like one album in, guys. And as always, I don't pre-research. I learn from you guys. So I'll pick this all up as I go. CMC, how are you? Oh, how nice. As an American, any boy band song would make me cringe. Yeah, pretty much. I always say I like to be that person. I think it's important as a music fan to not let to keep your mind as open as possible. And I would open if there was a NSYNC or a One Direction or any of that crap came out of a really good song, I would want to be the first person to say that's a good song. But yeah, it's very rare. Here we go. JWS is fully qualifying his point. Da Da Dance by Baby Metal is, and then a flaming poop sign. Opinions are absolutely irrelevant. Matt doesn't like it either. That's fair enough. Like I said, this is fine. I mean, I can justify why I like it, and I'm pretty sure you guys can justify why you don't like it. That's absolutely fine. I don't think it's a perfect song by any means, but I think it has it's a nice take. It's different. It's interesting. I like it. Bubs, you've no idea, lad. You don't listen to it. It's an experience like a natural disaster. You're referring to that answer. I see. I see CMC's been a little bit of a work with some of the editing. Thank you, sir. And yeah, he's got rid of a troll for me. Thank you very much, CMC. Always on the case. Hi, Harry. Hi, CMC. No phone. So not unusual name. Yeah, I like that you've got like 1 million accounts, man. That's fine. We kind of recognize your icon first and foremost. 21 viewers. Oh, really? Is that? Oh, that's nice. And 11 likes. Thank you. Anyone who's in here, if you're enjoying it, like it. I try to keep it as interesting as possible. We're on a bit of a long run today. We're halfway through what is potentially a 3-hour live stream today. Jeez. I'll need a whole nother drink before we finish. So have a look here. 200 viewers. Does this mean we go viral? It's not like the other day when we had those Russian bots that got us up to something ridiculous like 200, 300 views. That was hilarious. I like the fact that YouTube obviously knew they were fake, because when the video was posted afterwards, none of those views appeared on the statistics, which was kind of good. I don't want that kind of Russian, well, they're probably not Russian, but don't want any of that troll stuff on the channel. Jeff. Yeah, good. Keeping quiet, not been on much. Hi, Howard. Thank you. Well, just so long as you're okay, man, feel free to check in anytime. It's always good to have our resident troll back. Bubs, oops, down to 17 now. I really should stop posting. Well, we're up to 22 on my screen, so it's good for me. Harry, I don't like half the songs on Metal Galaxy, but I do like Dead and Nancy. It's not their best work, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, like I said, I think it's that old Venn diagram thing again. It's going to be for some people and not so much for others. They're going to speed up once again. I'm really falling behind again. JBS got to be different, don't you? Of course he does. Of course he does. Why not? Matt, Metal Galaxy definitely feels like who are we as adults? Who are we without Yui? I look forward to the next album. Yeah, I think although some people perhaps think the production makes it slightly more of a poppy and childish album, I do actually agree. I think that like I said, I know that it's not as a developed writing album as the one that went directly before, but the album they did directly before was so intricate and so varied in its writing style. I think it was good to not try and replicate that, but to try and go in a different direction and do something a bit more sonically varied. So I agree. I think it shows them playing around with the maturity to experiment with new things. So I think there is a quality to that. Zinf YouTube now knows I searched for the Pumps USA. I regret everything, dude. Pandora's box. Said didn't open it. I told you not to do that. I specifically told you not to do that. All that stuff. I'm so sorry for you, sir. Simsy, Bubs, this actually qualifies you for employment with Baka. No, because the qualification is that I have to take unknowing people, and when they start working here, I have to make them suffer from that song just to share my pain. He's already suffered, therefore he's not going to experience the pain properly. Harry and Jeff, I kind of like that dance until the last bit. Oh yeah, you don't. Was it you who said that? I remember someone said before he didn't like the last bit of that song, which is interesting. JWS got a few comments for me, so I'm just going to read them quickly. Howard, I see you finally found Scandal. Shame we can't listen along with you doing your reviews and first listen, but copyright sucks, yeah. Anyway, personally, I think Scandal better live, especially than TVC. Young. You should check the live uploads on YouTube. Dude, you know how this works. I mean, look, I could go over this point a million times. I know you've already heard me say it, but I'll just say it quickly. I've got nothing against live music as an enjoyable thing if you already know the song, but when you hear a song for the first time as a live song, you honestly, majority of the time, you don't get it. There's quite a few bands on this channel who the very first video I heard by fan request was a live video, and honestly, every single time, I didn't really get it until I heard a recorded version, and you hear what they want the song to be in the studio. I know you might not think that's the best version of a song, but when you hear it in the studio, you hear what they're going for, and then the live version provides a more raw alternative. But the live version's always raw, so you always lose the finesse. The mix is always lost, so you lose the sense of what the balance is. They're always going to play it with more energy live, which therefore means that, everything kind of slews towards sounding more the same. And plus, anyone can make a song enjoyable live. So, you can take a good band, you give them a crap song, and they will make it fun live. So, yeah, I know what you're saying, but I can, for someone who wants to listen to as we're going through the entire catalog, too much will become too samey. So I kind of got to go through it this way. But I appreciate what you're saying. I wish that they would get their hands off of the button and make it possible for us to react to it properly. But fair enough. Yeah, we do a great band though. I mean, the first album was fantastic. We're looking forward to seeing where it goes in the second one because a lot of people love the first album and have made a lot of comments about where the band went as a direction. But I'll see. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. Matt, I'm not a musician. Is Misa the best bassist on earth? Is Konami appears to be the best guitarist they appear to be? Too hard to say. Style's a thing. I wouldn't say either of them are the best at their instruments. I've said this before. Even though I'm a big Akane fan, no bias, I wouldn't even say she's the best drummer on earth. What I think they are is I think they're the best musically linked band. I think as a band, their overall average level is insanely high. I mean, probably, I would say the Misa and Akane definitely are probably vying for, top 10 in the world, somewhere in that list. Konami is difficult because there's just too many guitarists in the world playing too many different styles. It's really hard to even think about that. But I would say that Misa and Akane definitely are vying for top 10 on their relative instruments. But I think the real quality of Bandmate is the overall average level of quality is easier to judge and scale against other bands. And on that level, they're absolutely right up there. And the main reason, I keep on coming back to this, the main reason is because they have Miku. There is no point having a bunch of virtuoso musicians if there is no one who can just sit down and do the simple core and do that bit that a virtuoso musician might not want to do. Admittedly, Bandmate, one of their qualities is they're very good at restraint as well. They don't always blast virtuosos, but the fact that Miku's always in there to give a solid center to all of the songs is actually one of their strongest assets. So I really do mean all of them when I say their average playing quality. If you like, their ammunition they have on their side is extremely high. I actually feel a bit sad they don't have a keyboard player. Admittedly, their songs are so detailed that there's not really room for it in most of them, but sometimes it would be nice to have them have a keyboard player in there just to sort of add more difference to the sounds they can do. But with exception to that, just fantastic musicians. Very hard to say. So Hannah says, thanks for the comment, by the way, interesting one though. Hannah, I like metal, I like pop, but I don't really get the baby metal height. It's all well written and performed. I just can't connect with it. I guess it's just not for me. Yeah, I think there is a slightly alienating factor to the fact that it's very theatrical, isn't it? It's very much a performance piece. So it can be a little bit hard to get into. It's not something that you can really relate to on a personal level. I think it's more like seeing a big show or a big movie. It's got that sort of wow factor. It's very much like being swept in, like, I kind of like how you can listen to like a movie soundtrack without the movie and it still sounds swelling, like classical music. It swells you. It has like a big effect. I think that's kind of more what baby metal is than a direct comparison to either pop or metal. It's not something that you can really, I don't think anyone personally relates to any baby metal songs, but the whole feeling, the atmosphere is very powerful. So it's a different approach. It's like giving you something very big and dramatic, but also drawing it back to a kind of a cute core, like having it's not so much cuteness anymore, but having having something a little bit more innocent at the core than some growling, long-haired, tattooed, will punch you in the face if you look at his beer the wrong way kind of metal singer. Doug, yeah, I took the bait too. I can now confirm that the Pumps USA makes Americans me very uncomfortable. That's what I was thinking. It makes me uncomfortable. But if you were actually American, and by the way, sorry, Doug, I really apologize that you ever heard that, but you shouldn't have taken the bait. I would, if someone, well, I guess you couldn't do a song like that about England because the English don't naturally have, as a nation, there is not that sort of national swagger. So it's kind of, if you were American and you're from this country where I think if you're American, it's kind of, you can kind of take the swagger with a little bit of a fun sense. People going USA like ridiculously all the time. You can take that with a bit of fun. But when you see it mirrored back at you, like, oh, that's how it comes across. Yeah, it's kind of that uncomfortable thing where it kind of reminds me of like when you and your friends are like doing something fun, and if someone just calls you out directly and just sort of directly sarcastically impersonates you, be like, oh, okay, we were just having fun, but you've called us out. It's kind of how it feels. Just if I was American, I'd feel very uncomfortable. But somehow being English and having children think that you're American and sing it to you is kind of worse. Probably, maybe not, but it feels like it probably is. Fernando, Howard in February, prepared to have your socks blown off band made live is amazing. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I know what to expect. I've seen a lot of bands who I love live. I know about their onstage theatrics. I know about the fun. I know about the way they do it. I think I'm going to be pretty much well prepared for it. But that to me is good. It's not so much about. I think for me, it's not so much about the surprise as just the fact that I'm very excited because I think I got a good handle on what I'm going to see. And so I just kind of feel now more settled and excited to see it. Whereas if this had been the case 6 months ago, before we'd really got into the whole track by track listen to all of their albums, I would have been more tentative. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna be sort of ready. I know it's gonna be good. I know I'm excited to hear it. It's just, if I feel very comfortable, I have no apprehension or nerves about it at all. It's not one of those things where I'm thinking, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Is it going to be a waste of money? It's one of those ones where I just know it's going to be great. So I'm just very calm and happy about that. Plus, I'm always that person who, I get to I'm always at the front row. Always. Nothing ever stops me from getting to the front row. When I get to the front row, I'm always that person who I'm enjoying the music. So as a result, I might move on my spot, but everyone can move around me. They can mosh around me. People are bouncing into me, beers bouncing off my head or whatever. But I'm in my place and I'm just enjoying it. So yeah, I know I'm going to have a fantastic time. I know that's going to be great for me, and I'm going to love it. Believe me, I'm going to enjoy it, and I will try in the best possible way I can. I'm going to try and share the experience with you. I don't want it to be something annoying where you're just watching, Howard's going to that concert that we can't go to because we're not in Japan. But hopefully, if I can share some of the atmosphere and make it a bit fun, like I did with the Miku Tokyo video, then I'll try and do that for you guys. Or if anyone, only a few people saw it, but if anyone saw the Tenkai Apin's Silent Siren video, that was really fun as well. So it's kind of like that atmosphere. I'll try and do something fun so you guys can share in it as well. Jedwis, Elizabeth, wash your mouth out with soap, heretic. What did Hannah say? Okay, it was the baby milk one. So we'll do it down here. When you've got two extremely notable names like Hannah and Elizabeth, I don't know which one to go for, Hannah or Elizabeth. So sometimes I'll say Hannah, sometimes I'll say Elizabeth. Oh, wow, I've really lost track of where I was in the comments now because I scrolled up. Oh, there we go. Oh, wow, I was really out of touch with it. Oh, my God, I've got a lot of catching up to do. Fair enough. A lot of other people... praise don't really click for me either. Other music praise, people praise don't really click for me either. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like what you like. Personal opinion is the main thing. It's a proper approach to metal. The uniqueness of the idea, film. I guess that's feeling. In a way, yeah, the uniqueness is one of the things that sold them, and I'm just surprised that it's kept on so long. But I think that's down to quality writing. Free Monkeys. In that case. Like Static Age and Carpool Reactions, would you do a travel gig experience vid? Oh, but yeah, that kind of actually tagged onto what I just said there. So I know this is all really out of context. I think people are writing so much more faster than I can reply. So apologies that I'm really out of touch now with what everyone's saying. But yeah, I'll try to do that. I mean, like I said, I'll do that kind of in a similar way to how I did the previous couple of videos in Tokyo the last weekend. But yeah, definitely, I'll try and do something like that so you guys, like I say, can share in it as best as possible. If there's anything specifically you want to see, let me know and I'll try and consider that for the video. Like if I'll see what I can do getting cameras into the venue and stuff like that. I do still have my I'm probably gonna get kicked out of the venue if I use this, but I have my HD camera that's so small that actually no, now I've got two of them, but that would be bad. I don't want to get kicked out of the gig. So Harry, yes, Mammy is the lead guitarist of Scandal and was singing majority of Ring Ring Ring. Good. Nice voice. Sorry, I'm going through. I've got to go through these quickly. Doug, now enjoyed by Becca. Your CV is just PTSD related to Pump. I agree with you. It's excellently produced, written, and performed, but leaves me cold. But there is no denying the skill on show. What are we talking about there? maybe. Damn, sorry. This is why I'm really out of touch. I've got to catch up. Sorry. Jade West, a favorite early Scandal song was Shoujo M, sung by Mammy. A lot of people said that. I've heard Shoujo S, haven't I? But not M yet. So I've got to come back to that. Hannah Elizabeth is an atheist in a Catholic village. I'm a heretic in every way it's possible to be now. As an atheist in a Catholic village, good for you. I've been an atheist in. Well, I grew up in a town that was primarily Sikh. Then I moved to an area that was Hasidic Jewish in North London. Then I lived in America, which was very Christian. Then I lived in a very Muslim part of West London. I've always been the atheist in Nepal. It's always been very fun. So appreciations. I know how that feels. Jeff, Hannah, if I called it. I really need to catch up what's going on here. I'm getting really out of touch. I swear starts the start of next minute. Okay, I'll start running through quickly. Oh, Sven has got the puke face for the Pump USA, so you've heard it. I hope no one makes a Netflix movie of my life. The amount of time I wasted staring at Japanese idols and money I've spent flying to Japan would be embarrassing. I made a YouTube channel out of it. So go ahead, do it. I'm 60. The Pump USA performed by French Bears. I don't think French. I think French Bears are probably one group who probably would not sing that song. So that would be more of a bizarrely interesting contradiction. Spelled legendary wrong. Yes, exactly. Yeah, well said. We don't need Super Ebola when normal Ebola will do in regards to it. Yeah. JWS Rescanned Alive. Yeah, I get that. It's a personal thing, and you're coming from it in a musical direction. I just love watching Mammy play. It's awesome. Just want to cover that point again because, like I say, I do really like live music, but for me, live music is something you enjoy after you're familiar with the music, after you're familiar with the artist. Then you can enjoy it because you know how the song, you've got that basis, that foundation of how the song sounds in your head, and then you go and enjoy it live, and it's like, okay, this is the song I already know, but as is always the case, turned up, given more energy, given more pomp and more performance and more show. So yeah, it's great, but I don't think it's great as a first listen. Most of the groups who I've heard I really like, now very often I will listen to live versions of their music because I know the recording. I don't want to hear it done in different ways. Sometimes I want to hear it a little bit more energetic. So that's nothing against live, but not as a first listen medium is what I mean. But fair point. Yeah, fair point. And I'm looking forward to seeing a bit of Mammy's playing maybe a bit later on as well. So Hannah Elizabeth, thanks. Another reason I should go stayed in school. My dreadful spelling. It's the age of spell correct. You'll be fine. If Bandmate keeps this up, they will be going down as one of the best bands of all time, says Matt Tay. I would hope so, but don't ever regard the history books as a very, very good measurement of actual skill. History books are written by what's most popular, and what's most popular is often the common denominator. Now, sometimes you will get genuinely good bands who get through that. We are very lucky that we have bands like the Beatles who are so notable because they did actually add a lot to music writing. But then again, the history books have also been written by people like Madonna. And I don't really think that, maybe her team, maybe her producers have, but I don't think Madonna has really done much to change the scene of music. So, not in any way that is to do with music. So, in my opinion, it is important to remember that the history books are not really something to aspire to. The music fans and the legacy of being listened onto. It's one thing we say about bands like Cardiacs, who, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of them. I know they're not for everyone. I know they've not got a massive appeal sound at all. And yet they are just the sheer quality of the work that they did is the reason why I don't think they will ever fall out of popularity. Almost everywhere I go in the world, this band who no one's heard of, if someone says they're a real big music fan, I say, have you heard of the Cardiacs? Like, one or two times out, once every 2 times or so, 50% of the time, maybe they'll go, oh, you've heard of Cardiacs? Oh, yeah, I love Cardiacs. And you'll be like, wow, okay. So, it is interesting how that works. Being one of the best bands of all time, that's not really a metric that anyone's judged by fairly. just be one of the respected bands and you'll be good. I think that's probably what you were meaning anyway, but I just kind of wanted to get into that as a bit of subject of what that was an interesting conversation starter. Sven, the Pump performed in 2018 at halftime at a game of my favorite Japanese soccer club. The mascot did the dance too. Oh, Sven, I'm so sorry. Especially a game where it's a Japanese game, and I'm assuming that the teams are Japanese, and it's like, oh god, the cringe factor is horrifying. Babs, that's no problem, citizen. His hero pose. Oh god, hero pose with just like the beer is still in one hand though. CMC, well, Konami might well be a better pianist than guitar player. Yeah, from what I've heard, she's an extremely highly trained pianist. But then again, a lot of Japanese musicians are, man. A lot of Japanese musicians are, but still, credit to her where it's due. Albion. Hello, Albion. Welcome. You think you've just joined the chat, haven't you? I think this is the first comment I read by you, Albion. Sorry. Have you ever watched band made live performance in Japan or outside Japan? If yes, what's your opinion about their live performance? Seen it on video. Sorry if you've just joined the conversation. I was just saying I am going to see them for the first time live on February the 13th in Tokyo. I used to interview and review bands, Japanese bands, when they were touring in London, when I was living in London. So I really want to start doing more of that in Japan, and I've covered a few bands, but I'm going to be seeing Band Made for the first time in February. I've seen them on video before, and there's no doubt in my mind that they got all the qualities that you want from a live band. I mean, they seem to do quite a straight show, but they do it with a little bit of theatrical. They play between the artists. It seems to have a lot of life. They don't just sort of walk up there, play their songs, and sod off. So yeah, I have every reason to be very excited about seeing that, but no, haven't actually seen them in person live quite yet. So that's coming in February, and don't worry, I'll post something about that, some sort of video related to that on the channel. I'll just move on quickly so I'm keeping up with the comments. Sven, oh, Bubs, to Sven, I think you're now confirmed as a backroom employed. Well, Sven has to pass the liking silent siren test. I wonder if that'll be hard for him. Have a look here. Okay, off topic. Howard, why is music in East different from West? Korea with management companies like YG, some Japanese, isn't there record companies from West? So you mean the business side of it? It's a social thing. Down to the way that business is conducted. This is not really a musical question, if I'm totally honest with you. Also, the fact that the music industries here grew much quickly, so they didn't develop in the sort of grassroots way that a lot of Western music record companies did. Not all of them, but some of them. So a lot of the practices that Western music companies have built on have maybe been built from a slightly different way. There is definitely a very cynical element to both sides of the story, but it's just different how it plays out. Ultimately, as with all things, as everything gets more international, there becomes more of a sort of a similarity in how these companies work, more conventions in the way that they operate. But ultimately, the difference seems to be that in the East, it's more socially acceptable to work your musicians hard. And that's the main thing that shows. So if you have idol groups, it's okay for the record company to say they should appreciate the opportunity. Whereas in the West, if you take young women and say, okay, we're going to give them this opportunity, people would be very politically strong about how you treat them. And that leads to this polarization where it can go one of two ways. So in the East, you sometimes get like these young idol groups, to use this as the primary example, who are treated awfully and it isn't really acceptable and it's terrible how it's done. However, in the West, you get this awful thing where sometimes people, there's a lot of crying over everything. It's like, oh, you work your artist too hard. It's like these people have a dream job. So shut up and get on with it. I mean, there is a bit of a mix where it's just kind of the social element affects it more than anything else. The Eastern approach is a little bit too harsh a lot of the time and doesn't appreciate the psychological state of the artist enough. And the Western system tends to be a little bit too pandering. That's the main thing I've noticed. But this is a very complex question, I'd say. Ultimately, the businesses nowadays, they just function in roughly the same way, which is it's just kind of the way they treat the artists that's mainly different, but they focus on the same thing. I mean, it's direct comparisons for everything. You look at like the Western shows like the X Factors, Americans Got Talent. That's basically just the Western equivalent of AKB48. It's the same thing. It's just a voting system so that you can get an artist at the end and they can replace it next year. All of these things have an equivalent. but it's the treatment of the artist that I think is the main difference, which I think comes down to just social factors, and both areas take it to the extreme. That would just be my answer, but like I say, too complicated a subject for me to really boil it down in the time that I have with all of the comments coming in. Free Monkeys, I know you're not a big Psyche fan, but would you say her vocal range classification is? Oh, what would you say her vocal? It's not. Actually, I don't know that I agree with that. I mean, you say that I'm not a big Psyche fan. Just want to come out. I am actually quite a big Psyche fan. That's one of the reasons I don't have a lot of reason to talk about her, is because every single song she does is just nailed it again. I don't really know what I would classify. And you mean like as in the classical classification? Like, that's a bit difficult for me to say. I've got to be honest. That one usually you'd put down to a vocal coach. Yeah, you can word it from like an arrangement perspective, but that becomes very difficult because the reason that's used in classical terms is because there's a classical way of layering things that doesn't really work in rock music. It's kind of hard for me to really say how I would classify her voice, because I think she sings in a much more a sort of bigger, fuller voice than a lot of her Eastern peers. But again, this is another thing. Then you compare it to Western music, where her voice would be considered pitch-wise more normal. It's difficult. I mean, I think her voice is absolutely fantastic. I adore the sound of her voice. I think it's brilliant. I think backed up by Miku, it's even better. Admittedly, maybe my only criticism of Psyche, if I was to view her overall, is that she doesn't have quite as many of those sort of throw around, just go crazy with a sort of, not enough bits where she really sort of sounds like she's throwing her personality into her voice as much, would maybe be my opinion. But that's kind of been rectified a little bit on Conqueror, where I think you hear a lot more of her personality on Conquerors than you did on any of the previous albums. So that would probably be a rectified point. I gotta admit, I don't think I'm really qualified to give a proper answer to that question, though, because I don't know how I would balance that with A, her race, and B, her style of music. Because, like I say, how you classify. Well, then again, actually, no, because you get a lot of Japanese classical singers as well, and they use the same classification. Just I'm sort of thinking against her. I'm thinking of against. You get what I mean, though. For me, it's really difficult because I hear Japanese singers and the whole vocal style is totally different from Western singers anyway. Interesting point. If anyone wants to give an opinion on that, I'm more than willing to hear it because, like I say, I don't think I can really give the classification. I'm not going to just suddenly say she's an alto because I feel like she's an alto. But yeah, good question. Bubs, it's just their own take on music industry. It's like getting no context on something and trying to mimic it. Kind of, yeah, kind of. That's not too far from the truth. Except for they didn't really try to mimic it. I think, from my feeling, they didn't try to mimic it so much as adjust the Japanese business system that would already work for like a car company. They just very much said, well, we do business this way, so now we're going to do this business but have music in it. So I think more that they try to twist their current system than mimic the Western system. Doug, regarding wishing Bandmade had a keyboard player, that was a throwaway comment. I thought I was probably going to get an interesting reply, though. I don't think there was room for it in the music. See Gaku explain for why, but I would love Konami to... Actually, yeah, no, you got a really good point. Kind of like I was saying, I think they got so much intricacy, it doesn't really lend room to it, but I do think it would be nice to hear them play around with some other sounds, considering they've already got two guitarists. So yeah, it would be nice to hear Konami playing something off of guitar. Agreed. That's one of the reasons why I have such a soft spot for Start Over, and I want to defend that song so much, is because, that was something I want her to do again. I want her to play the piano again because she's bloody good at it. No one should say, hey, you've got this skill, but don't use it because your band is rock. That's if I may be so bold, that's bullshit. Bubs, I just mean that as an outsider of Japanese music looking in, by no means is it... Oh, okay, you're just qualifying your previous statement. That's fine. Jebris, I just find it interesting. Korean idols seem to be slaves to their companies, wondering if... Oh, I see. You mean Japan to Korea. The difference between Japan and Korea is slight. It is very much in the intricacy. Now, with Korea, there is this... I think the biggest issue actually probably is in quantity, because both of them use this very factory approach. But in Japan, you are part of, you take, for example, let's use AKB as an example, because they are the foundation, as many other groups like them. There's more pop stars in Japan. There's a lot more, and groups are much bigger. So you get people and they come in and they're processed through. So each person has individually less pressure on them. They have high pressure and it can affect them. You can see really bad results, especially when you get up to the top. But you get lots of people falling out of these groups and going to do other things, because ultimately there's not so much limelight. But there are expectations. You have to behave a certain way and all this. But that's kind of, everyone knows what that is. Whereas in Korea, it's done differently. First of all, less people get a spot because the groups are smaller. There's a lot of pressure to be that idol, and as a result, people get massive pressure even before they get signed. You can't just walk into a gigantic group, as you more so can in Japan. And then when you're there, you get marketed directly. The group is you, 5 or 6 people, and then you are placed under massive pressure to be, eyes are on you. You are not, you can't just sort of sink into the crowd. Eyes are really on you. So I think there is a difference in the pressure on people. I think they're under a lot more pressure, Korean idols. And I don't think the support system's there. I don't think that naturally in most of Asia, talking about those kind of problems is seen as a bit negative. Luckily, the world is opening up a little bit more, but you're expected to be an idol, which means you cannot really complain. And that's universal for both. But I think the most troubling thing that I've heard from people I've worked with from the Korean music industry, obviously I've worked in Japanese companies, but the people I've worked with from Korean industry, the biggest concern I've heard is that there tends to be this very much artists are made to feel like you have been given this great opportunity, and therefore, so it's like, if you let us down, you let everyone down. It's very much a case of, there is this real sense of pressure, and it's quite nasty from what I've heard. I don't know. I haven't seen it firsthand, but I've talked to people who have seen it firsthand, and that is the comment that is often passed on to me. It's one of the reasons why I give credit to groups like Dreamcatcher, because it seems like Dreamcatcher are going in a direction that is different from most other groups, and it seems that they're enjoying it. And there seems to be a genuine sense that the pressure is not so evident with them. As I keep on saying, I might be wrong. Again, I haven't seen it firsthand, but I get a better vibe from them than I do from a lot of their peers. Anyway, let's continue with this, as again, I'm a long way behind. Three Monkeys, the gig all the way through. Oh, you want to see the gig all the way through? I have to open up a separate YouTube channel so that I can get sued on that one instead. Yeah, I will, before I go though, I will talk to the venue about what is acceptable and see what I can get away with. And often the trick that we used a lot with the other things that I used to do, because like I said, I've interviewed a lot of artists previously, is just very simply, if you contact the managers of the venue and say, look, this is my credentials, this is what I do, go check it out on this website link. Okay, I want permission to do a few things. I want to take some photographs. I want to maybe get an interview. I think that's going to be harder in this case because of the language barrier, and I'd have to get a translator accepted into the venue as well. If you do think it's amazing how much free reign they give you a lot of time if you just prove that you're legitimate. So you never know what I might be able to come away with, but it might be difficult. Zimph, 2 cameras recorded the gig in 3D. I did actually try to see if I could get them to work in 3D, but then I realized they've actually got different, the lens width is very different on both of them. I mean, one of them is quite telephoto and the other one's quite wide angle, so I should have just bought 2 of the same. But yeah, good point. Bubs, yep, Japan and Korea have similar setups and contracts with talent. It reminds me of the days early Hollywood before the Actors Union. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, actually. Shows you, and similar results, sort of the terrible sort of the young suicides, the depressions, the things like this. It is absolutely tragic when you see that. I'm glad to see that Japan has taken a much more balanced approach of recent, and they seem to be taking more care. Even in the years since I was really involved, which was my main involvement was in my early 20s, so the best part of 10 years ago. But I still have contact with them now, more as an outside contract with a lot of these companies. But when I was involved, it's fair to say that if things were harsher than they are now, but now they do look much better. So from what I've seen, I'm seeing some really good things there, and I'm happy for that. It seems to be going in the right direction. But Korea doesn't seem to be changing. This part of the music industry, I think they know that people are still buying it up. People, the success in the Korean music industry is expanding, so there's no need for them to change. It's kind of how they feel, and no one's questioning it, not properly. I think one day you'll see there'll be like a TV documentary or something come out, or someone will really deep dive into the subject, and it might shake up some things. But until they start losing money, they won't change. So look at. Shoujo was a song they performed in their Zep tour. Wrong history books are written by the victors. They are not. They're not. History books are not written by the victors. So that's a generalization that doesn't work out. History books are written by whoever can write. So Sven, whoever can write what people want to read. Sven, Shoujo is on Temptation Box 11, as how we'll hear it soon. Oh, cool. That means it's probably the second album or third album. Well, I think it's the second album. There's an EP between, isn't there? But we'll check it out. Like I said, as a general, I'm skipping the EPs, and this is a specific reason to listen to them. But maybe we'll see it soon. Harry, it is funny with the genre difference. I would admit that bandmates display more technical skill in their playing. The Scandal is still considered to be the best female band in Japan. No, I agree from my personal taste. Also agree. No doubt Scandal is the more legendary one. Scandal, but they've been around for longer, which kind of aids that. Scandal has a legendary status that not many bands of their type really do. They are certainly in the female rock scene in Japan. They are seen very, very highly. And yet they have no real international pull, which I do believe is firmly down to their record company. Victor, give it a rest. So, Sven, if someone enjoys cringe, I posted the performance to pump out the Discord channel. Share the pain. I guess that's what I did when I shared it to Bubbles. By the way, if anyone hasn't seen it, actually, check out the video on our channel. We got a video of Bubbles reacting to the Pump USA on our channel. So instead, watch our link, all right? So, Harry Crow, keyboards being still about to change. Keyword being still about to change. Okay. Okay, I see what you mean. Harsh. Harry's fighting talk for Harry, I think. Hannah Elizabeth, surely Shonen Knife is still the best female band in Japan. Oh, Shonen Knife is, again, it's a legendary status thing, isn't it? But I think Shonen Knife take themselves so lightly that, and I've seen Shonen Knife live, as you guys might know. I had a drink with Shonen Knife, which made me very, very happy. They're absolutely lovely, and they I think though that they've taken themselves so lightly that they've kind of seen more as the like the oracles of Japanese music. It's like, oh, we must go talk to Shonen Knife now. They're not like, they don't actively drop hits or anything like that, but everyone knows. Shonen Knife. You don't mess with Shonen Knife. Bubs, just realized that I got a free Bible today. I am currently looking up Leviticus for reference to perfume and goddamn. Sven, I am not the biggest fan of her and his voice. Yeah, I've heard a few people are not. But so far I've had no problem with it. But it's not stood out as like a wow voice, just kind of like good, works at what it does. But interested in hearing more context as I hear more of their career. Simpsy says to Harry, Scandal have put the hours and miles in to get where they are. Bandmate might well get there, but they will have to keep on getting better. I can't really comment enough on Scandal, but I'll comment on what I know sort of vicariously. It seems to me that the general comment on Scandal is there's this kind of respect for the fact that they are able to drop hits. And this is an interesting thing, because I know often people don't associate, dropping hits with being like the best band or being a particularly good band. But I think people appreciate that they can equally appeal to the mainstream as much as to non-mainstream. I think if bandmates want to have that kind of status on a national level, they will need to produce more hits. And as much as we like their songs, as much as we love their songs, you have to admit that they're maybe not the strongest hit-making machine. They do quality to, I think, a higher level. I think their musicianship appears to be on a higher level. They seem to be very adept with how they arrange things. But yeah, Scandal seem to have this ability. They can flip the switch and they can do something very, very poppy very well, and then just go back to doing rock. I think that's kind of, if we're talking about sort of that legendary status on a national scale, I think that's kind of the skill that bandmate will need to pick up on. We have to remember there's a big difference between writing a catchy song and writing a hit. And I don't think bandmate are really aiming to write a hit. I don't think that's their focus. If you listen to their singles, that's not the way they're writing. They're writing to produce something which I think is more personal to them. It just seems to be the way it works. But that is an interesting conversation. So I'll see where that goes. But I need to catch up on the comments. Jed Lewis. I know not about music, but is about music industry. I'm not saying the West is better. But many bands in West, massive bands. Rob Blind also found Japanese Korean bands on YouTube live vid. Yeah, I think the sort of robbery of rights is a bigger issue in the West, but not so much anymore. It's kind of being corrected, but people very much believe in that it was the old stereotype from like years and years ago, isn't it? The man with the cigar. You're playing a gig and then one day a man with a cigar will appear and he'll give you a contract and sign you and you'll be rich forever. And there's kind of this theory was embedded in a lot of young musicians' mind for many a decade that, that's how it works. And so they see a contract and they think my life is set, and they sign a contract and they don't understand it and they get absolutely ruined. And one of the main things, if you don't write your own songs in the West, you really are screwed. Because record companies, one of the primary tricks that record companies do, and it's a very good trick, is what they call the rented life, which is that basically, you go over here by jet plane, you have a fancy car to drive, you live in beautiful houses, you go and stay in beautiful hotels, but you don't own any of it. None of it's yours. So the minute the hits dry up, it's all gone because none of it was yours to begin with. You rented a lifestyle. And the record company got a good discount on all of it for their own basis because they're doing this all the time, and then they kick you out the back door. They got your song rights, so they'll keep on making money off of the radio long after you're gone, unless you're a young musician who can pay for an expensive lawyer. So that's one of the biggest problems with the Western music industry. That doesn't so much exist in Japan. Japan isn't like that because the record companies, I think, as a general, they are not looking because there's more. It's going to be a difficult one to say. I think there's more quality artists in the East as a result. I think the record companies are more willing to invest in everything they pick up. They're very selective about what they pick up, and they pick up and they invest. They have a plan, and everything is about investing rather than gagging or sort of stopping anything. They want to make artists happy, and they want to get a longevity out of the career. And that's maybe another thing in Japan. Bands who do well tend to get long careers. And they might have their fame and it might die off, but they'll always stay relatively popular. Whereas a band who's popular in the West can disappear and become a nobody after the hits stop coming in. So that is part of the difference, I must say. Let's have a look here. So simply, I would say Psyche is more of an alto voice-wise. Yeah, I would as well, but I don't know how confident I'd be in saying that. It's difficult. I mean, like I said, I'd have to go to a proper vocal coach to get a choice on that. I don't think I really feel confident saying that's true. But it seems like the choice to me, but maybe. Matt, I like Psyche, but I found her voice to be least dominant part of the band, which is interesting. My eyes go every other band member. I guess she's the least varied member. She has more of a style that continues in most of the songs, but I would say that she sings with a lot of finesse, a lot of detail, and so I can kind of see where you're coming from there. So maybe on a first listen, I think I'm very much drawn to listening to her, but if I was listening to an entire album over the course of the album, I start to listen to the other things more. Interesting point. Bubs, proof of my new bubble sent to Howard. So far, Bear's reference is an I'm comfortable with. So less bear reference than I'm comfortable with. Yeah. We're keeping the Bears out of this, my friend. So many comments. I'm really behind. Oh my God. Where are we? No, not there. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Wow. I wish there was somewhere I could slow down time so I could keep up with this better. Also, I'll never. Newer girl bands have it easier due to Scandal or success, like what Scandal did back. Other girls bands before them, Jeff says. I think that's true. I think we also have to give credit to Puffy. It's easy to forget about Puffy, but Puffy actually made a big difference. I remember, I know that they weren't the band in the same type, but they did sort of really open up that idea of women doing rock music. So Puffy needs to give a lot of credit as well. I think Puffy, to a certain degree, opened up the door for Scandal. I think that's a fair thing to say. Simply, but bands like Distros and Audius, I know, also paved the way for a lot of technically gifted all-female bands. Very true. Audius, from what I've read subsequently, have very much done that. Konami did play the piano intro in Daydreaming and was played it live at some of the shows before moving to her guitar. That's cool, but I want to hear her play a whole song on piano. Anna Elizabeth. Scandal definitely climbed up the back of Goalhammer and can't read that kanji. Fair enough. Maybe I should check out these bands as well. But I try to stick on relatively recent bands, but I might go back a bit. Sam, what's the name of Bandmaid's label? I'm interested because they release several albums and don't perform at big festivals. They're currently attached to JPU, who have very good at getting Japanese artists international, but I've heard some questions about how good their artist dealings are. I've heard similar things said, that they don't seem to get many of their bands into places of prominence, but that might not be so much on them. That might be more on just, festivals not being willing to take the risk. Simply, and Shoya. Yeah, Shoya is another one that I've heard a lot about them having an influence. Matt, Bandmaid is playing First US Festival this summer. Ink, Something, Tattoo and Music Festival in Ohio. Please don't get them tattooed, please. Jeff Smith. Sorry, I didn't explain myself very well and crammed it in. It was mostly the difference between Japan and Korea, and do they have record companies like the West who hold power? Seems to, it's the TBC. Yeah, I mean, basically they do. They have record companies that hold power, but there's more record companies here. I think there's less record companies belonging to our record companies, more separate record companies here, but still a fairly small well of power. Seaboard Jones, well, I made it at the very end. It's not the very end. We're doing a 3-hour session today, sir. You are nowhere near the end. You've got 45 minutes left from where I'm talking now, and you probably posted that ages ago. CMC, Bandmaid are part of Columbia Nippon. Okay, fair enough. But they are with a newly created sublet. Oh, yeah, Revolver Records, yeah. Jeff Smith, management companies who have power and no word of it. Yes. No, you're right, actually. Yeah, management companies are very powerful in Japan and Korea. More so in Korea, but still very much in Japan. Management companies, because they tend to wield a lot of power over their artists, the management companies here. That's a very good point, actually. It's a very good point. So you have to deal kind of with two parties there. But I think management companies are more of an issue in pop. In rock, not so much. In rock, the record companies tend to get a bit more involved. But you are still right. That is very true. Bubs, we ain't done yet, lad. Enjoy the randomness. Yeah, exactly. Jeff, fuck, of course, Scandals is signed to Song and now open their mind. Wow, didn't know that. Sony even. Sorry, I'm a little bit confused about what. Yeah, Her is under Victor Vote. Exactly. Yeah, Victor is still connected. I found this out recently, which is why even their new stuff is still totally and utterly banned from being. You can't advertise them. Talented band, you're not allowed to advertise them, which is why they do not have the. Sorry, it's that simple. That's why they don't have the international success. And I had a really interesting conversation with, I think it was Harry, who mentioned that it's partly because they're neither poppy or rocky enough to really connect with Western audiences on either of those levels. And I think that might be partly true, but I do still believe they have had the time, and they would have been much bigger internationally if it wasn't for Victor. It's that simple. Or whoever, I mean, I've got to assume it's Victor, but whoever thinks that this copyright embargo is a good idea. 10 years of stopping people sharing your music. I could go into this, but I've gone into this a million times before. Hannah Elizabeth, I miss Shoya. I first went to Japan in 2003 and they'd broken up. I've missed most of their reunions, but I really like Hardway. I feel bad for you now. You first came in 2003, so I don't know if you're older than me or not, but you first came here 3 years before I did. Boom. Jeff Smith, in Korea, bands play off debt for most of their careers. Most idols are skin after they are retired. Yeah, sounds about right. I didn't know that was a normal thing, but again, it's that whole, you should appreciate this. So probably force them to invest money into it. Then again, that is quite similar in the West. They do that with advances. They say, hey, you just got signed. Here's a bunch of money. Go make a record. And they know full well how you're going to use that money. And then they hold debt against you if they have to give you more money for the record. So, people get their advance. They go, yeah, I'm rich now. I'm going to party like a rock star. Oh, wait, I haven't got quite enough money for that studio, which I had already signed a contract saying that I would record in, and the engineers that I have already said I would pay. Oh, crap. Oh no. Oh no, we've completed the album. At least it was done. We rushed it. They hand it to the executive producer. Sorry, this is not good enough. You have to do this again. Oh, but I can't afford more studio time. Don't worry, pay for it, and then you owe us for that. That kind of thing. That's a very sort of, it's kind of a generated example, but that kind of ethos. Sven, this year Regalili got a major deal with Keon. They're a very big deal. This could be the reason why all songs are not available outside of Japan. Yeah, Keon are a huge record company in Asia, though, working with Korean and Japanese crossovers. Earbubs, just what's your like to the pump? Bible in hand to protect me. It was an experience. Don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds crazy. This thing scrolled down again. Oh man, I'm so behind on comments. Oh, here we go. Sven, Victor is for the people who want to have an own label for people where Sony didn't extract the contract. Victor Entertainment is for the people who want to have an own label, or for people where Sony didn't extract the contract. I don't quite understand what you mean by that, but I mean, if Victor's seen as a getaway from Sony, then from what I've seen, they're actually doing even more vigorous sort of copyright clampdown. So that's interesting. Explain that again, just in case I misunderstood you. So JWS, Pink Floyd money. CMC, well, Bandmade on this album said they wrote the album for songs that they wanted to be able to use live. That seems to be their focus. That's fair enough, but still, Actually, you know what? The more you say, now you've said that, I've heard you say that before. I'm not entirely sure that makes sense though, because this album by far sounds like the least live album. Although they're probably saying that because these songs don't sound very lively, so it gives them more to play with and more to alter. So maybe that is what they mean. Maybe they're saying they got something more to alter with this. Okay, I have extruded the last from that drink, and I must find another. I'll bring another one in here with me. I'm sure of that. Maybe it is in my jacket. My geography teacher jacket. No. Aha! Under the sheet that is behind me. I'm sitting on my futon, as always. So we're going for grapefruit now. All right, see what everyone's saying. In Bubs, Mark Wahlberg money, epic rap battle quote. Yeah, okay, that's from the who's the really awful director? Michael Bay. Yeah, the one who I was slagging him off recently because I saw the first few minutes of his new movie, and it was quite possibly the worst action sequence I've ever seen in my life. I've never been so bored by an action sequence at the beginning of a movie. Just awful. God's sake, please retire, you awful director. Zimp Scandal also got a lot of exposure from getting their music used for big anime. Yeah, exactly. That's one thing. But we're now that at the time that maybe makes sense, but nowadays, the internet is where you expose your music. Sven, I basically agreeing with what you're saying, just as a modern context. Sven, I am not if you're familiar with the cover art for Asian Kung Fu Generation. However, the covers are great. The drawer made a drawing of my favorite Japanese soccer club too. Awesome. Link me some of that. You can put maybe in the Reddit or maybe on the Discord. But that sounds like something would be really interesting to see. Actually, I do like good cover artwork. Hannah Elizabeth, unfortunately, I have to go. Dinner will not cook itself. Have fun. I'll wait for the lyric of the day quiz. My first guest is Judy Mary. All right. Well, it's been lovely having you here. Thank you so much for joining in. Hope you get to join us on some of these future ones as well. But I'll make sure to be looking out for them Judy and Mary lyrics for you. Okay. CMC, bye. Yep. Just saw on Instagram that Scandal will be doing a day-long fan meet and greet with before the thing in Manila, before the show in Manila. That's really lovely. That shows an element of care, doesn't it? Since when Saki already has a tattoo saying "Love is strong." Everyone can do what they want, but just generic quote tattoos. I don't like them. That's just my opinion. It's not my decision what other people do with their body. You can do whatever the hell you want with your body. That's fine. Just like, yeah. Nah, you gotta get a tattoo. I don't know. For me, a tattoo should do. I don't know. Harry, January 3rd, I have posted the advert in the Discord. Cool. Oh God, it keeps on skipping down because I'm so far behind. CMC and also Bandmate have signed overseas promotion and management with Live Nation. Oh, cool. And UTO, who are major players. So hopefully that will help with overseas. Yeah, Live Nation will certainly. Free Monkeys, I take it back. Recycle. It's just in your pre-album DBs, you mentioned all the names a lot. But yeah, I've been accused of this before, don't worry. Yeah, Psyche's mentioned maybe a couple of Rudies at most. And yes, I'm a big Psyche fan. No, that's cool. I got accused of this. Someone really, really called me out brilliantly. I mean, they put a comment. This was it's a few months ago, but someone put a comment saying, "Howard, why do you never mention Psyche's name?" And I had to actually honestly reply because it just said, "I get the feeling you don't like this person," and I just sort of replied and said, honestly, she does such a good job in every one of the songs and I'm really bad at remembering names anyway, that I have so little to say about her half the time that I just kind of don't say her name because it's hard to remember her name because there's not much to say. It's like, she did it good again. She always does good. Everything she does is great. Never heard her sing anything bad. So it's like, yeah, Psyche. Of course it's fine. I talk about the melody because that's the writing, but when it comes down to her performance, she just performs it well. So there you go. Yeah, my bad. But no, I do actually really like her. I really like her voice. I really like her style. I think she really works wonderfully with the band, just as all the other members do. Doug Hannon, before we get to the end, I need to get this in. We want to see your check out Maximum Hormone. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're saying. James as well. James is a massive Maximum Hormone fan. I'm going to say this because I know some people have joined since I mentioned this last time. We tried to. James is a massive Maximum Hormone fan. He really, really, really wanted to get that on the channel. We did a reaction, which we both did together, which unfortunately he recorded that on his computer and he made an error and deleted it, I believe. Something went wrong. Whatever went wrong. Actually, no, I think maybe he didn't record it, but anyway, something happened. But the point is that Maximum the Hormone, copyright embargo. Same thing as Scandal. So I can't give a proper reaction. And it really, really bugs me, but that's the choice of their record company. I know some people have responded to Maximum Hormone online, and most of that seems to be really chopped up stuff, and that's just not something I can bring myself to do. It either doesn't present a good video, or if you do get it through, it just delays them eventually catching up, working out that you've violated the copyright, and then they give you a copyright strike instead of a block. So it's... I really want to, believe me, that's one of the bands I really want to check out, but one day, maybe. Albion, they're all female rock bands that famous in Japan back in the 80s. Some people still don't know the bands are Shoya, Princess, Chatmonchi. Love Chatmonchi. Was more famous back in mid-2000s. Yeah, but Chatmonchi is still big name right now. And actually, one of the other ones, I was picking up because I'm always I can't find it anyway. But they're not all female, but Ikimono Gakuri. They are a female-led band, really, really fantastic, really interesting. They're very big at the moment, but they're very much of the school of Chatmonchi. But there was a lot of these groups were big in the 80s, but I think they were not. They were not on a par with like the X Japans and the male-led bands. They didn't have that amount of gravitas, as far as I'm aware. But since they've been getting, in retrospect, more of the credit they duly deserved at the time. CMC, I think that Howard is too familiar with MTH, so he can't really react to them. That's a good point as well, because of the exposure that James is given, because James is a massive Maximum Hormone fan. I mean, he is like a proper full-on fan. as a result, it's kind of given me a lot of excessive exposure to the band already. So it's a bit of a difficult position. Let me just quickly write a couple of notes I want to write that people have just mentioned things that I'm just going to quickly write them down on the other computer. Just about the lyric thing. All right, quick notes there. All right, that's cool. Let's jump straight back into this. Scandalous having one of their songs in the new album being used in anime. Also, yeah, good for them. Good for them, I'd say. Oh, I'm almost caught up with the comments. That's amazing. And by the way, thank you. I've noticed there's a lot of likes on it. I really appreciate it. By the way, it's good for the channel as well. If these little live streams get a lot of likes, it means that more people, more people get to see the videos on the channel. So I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me that you guys are doing that as well. So thank you very much for pressing that like button and keeping it nice and positive in here. And thank you as well for everyone's commenting. It's really good today. Well, even if you just want to sort of sit and just watch and don't comment, that's fine. But it's really nice that people have got so many opinions to share as well. So Albion's got a few more things to mention here. Until at least early 2010s, they consider senior an inspiration by many all-female rock bands in this decade. In the decade, there is Shishamo. Didn't know that one actually. All-female rock band that just did Saitama Arena, 30,000 people. Oh my god, I don't even know it. Shishamo. Okay, I've got to check that out. I'll just write on my little thing. I'll put that on there. Oh, Shishamo. Interesting. Shishamo. Unfortunately, not many people outside Japan know them. Well, seemingly not this person inside of Japan either. So I'm going to try a bit of this grapefruit. Oof, oh my god, sour as hell. I'm loving all the bitter. I'm loving all the interactions today. I want to pass out a genuine thank you to everyone who posted regardless of content. Thank you, Bubs. You just kind of said what I said. I said it after you, actually, chronologically. Chatmonchy doesn't exist anymore. They reformed, didn't they? They broke up and they reformed and they broke up and they reformed again, is my understanding. Harry, I don't really like Psyche's voice when I first heard Batman, but have grown accustomed to it and now enjoy her voice. Yeah, it's one of those ones that's a bit of a shock when you first hear it. And you have to kind of settle into it. Let me just sort of, everything's the background's getting a bit white here. Where's the fill lighting? No, that's my face. What about this one? Oh, that just makes everything look really dirty screen. What's this? Oh, that makes me look really colorful and red. And this is the gamma, so that's probably not the best idea. No, let's not play with that. There we go. That's better. That'll do for now. The controls on this are not very subtle. Free Monkeys, Netflix, Kate and Bam made in the movies. Yeah, that Psyche comment was mine. Oh, that was you. That was you. You called me out brilliantly on that. You had a different. I always recognize people by their icons. That was a beautiful call out. That was really. That was nice because I was in back of my head. I was waiting for someone to say it. I was waiting for someone to say because you pointed out that whenever I came to say her name, I just said the singer. And I never called her directly by name, and you had noticed that, which I was thinking someone's going to notice that eventually. So it was perfectly timed and perfectly worded. And I was like, I remember exactly where I was standing when I read that message. I was in Akihabara Station. I was just going through my phone like in the middle of the day, catching up on some comments, and I just read that and I went, burned. So fair. Sven, the singer of Raging Kung Fu Generation wrote and produced. Oh, Sonny, I jumped up some of Chatmonchy. The singer of Chatmonchy is a feature as actually you mentioned this before. Chatmonchy disbanded in 2018. Very sad to hear that. I really love that band. Okay, maybe not the most creatively diverse. I mean, most of their stuff was relatively in one space, but they were really great. And actually, I feel kind of bad because I had a chance to see them in 2017 and I didn't have enough money to get a ticket. Balls. CMZ, just to mention, we also have a subreddit. Yes, thank you. By the way, if you don't know about the subreddit, that's the best place to go. If you're going to give me requests anywhere else, they might well get missed. If you do them on that subreddit, they will get seen eventually. You might have to wait a month or two, but I will get there. I promise I will get there. Bubs, hey Howard, what type of music do you want to review that haven't had a chance? Well done, Howard. You finally pasty white. Thank you. I don't mind. I mean, I would like to play on the, like I say, I like that the core of this seems to be sort of a mixture of pop and rock, but I'm more than happy to introduce people to new things. And what I love is that we've got people on this channel who are willing to listen to new things. So stuff like sort of, if there was something like Japanese jazz, I guess that's why I should listen to a little bit more of Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra. Sort of jazzy things, hip hop, anything like that. I'm interested to hear it because it always makes an interesting context. But obviously, we know what the core of the channel is, but we can always play with other things. Again, for any newcomers, here's the link to our Discord. I'm so gassy. Oh my god, all of the drinks I've bought today are gassy. I think it's because they're too high. Many of us are there daily, so drop by and enjoy the insanity. Very true. We have some great conversations on there. I mean, I'm not there all the time, but I like to pop in, and sometimes for me, actually, I've got to admit, it just gives me a little bit of a joy, just as a sort of just a fun thing. I go in there sometimes and I just read through the conversations that happened while I wasn't there, and it's really cool. So you can have some great stuff for that. Let's have a little look here. Bubbles has just posted something apparently I need to approve. So wait, I'm going to read that in a minute. Oh, it's been approved. CMC approved it. Let's see again for okay, got to run. Okay, Fernando, have a good holiday and eat lots of Christmas chicken. You're damn right I will, man. Have a lovely holiday yourself as well. I want to see you guys after Christmas. So have a lovely Christmas. I'm still going to be here for another half hour, but if you are leaving now, have a lovely Christmas. And Fernando, thank you so much for tuning in as always. Really great to talk to you, man. Doug, okay, since MTH is off the table due to copyright, I'm going to be selfish and put in another recommend in. Do it, man. That's fine. I'd love to see Drops, the song Cinder, or which one did I do by Drops? I've done 2 songs by Drops, so I'll look at these ones as well. I like that we got a lot of Drops fans because they're kind of an interesting, different band. So Cinderella and Dokokahe. And also CMC was mentioning that Glim Spanky got a new single as well. Video and single. Yeah, because they're in a sort of album release phase at the moment, aren't they? Okay, cool. CMC, a good musical perfume song. Okay, a good perfume song. How we hate on perfume. It's not my fault that you guys don't like perfume, okay? I want variation on my channel, and I kind of enjoy some of their songs, you know. So, but big up and for keeping me check-in. CMC, the Drops are another good fan of the band. Actually, do you know what? I don't know why Bubs is not actually a moderator. He should be a moderator. I mean, he does actually make content for the channel, so he should be a moderator. Yeah, there you go. You're a moderator now. That doesn't mean post disgusting things, okay? Let's see where we are. Sven, at the last performance of Chatmochi, former drummer Kumiko performed. Oh, that's both remaining members of the 2 bands, Baseball Bear and the song Shangri-La. That's really nice. Yeah, that's a shame. I really wish I'd known about or seen that. I have to check out a video and see if I can find a video of that performance. That's really lovely though. Oh, it's a shame. I really like them. Doug, yeah, they're not on iTunes, so I had to import some CDs. Really enjoy them thus far, especially their EP Trumpet. Lovely. Bub's now improved for everything. Yep, exactly. But I can still take that power away. I can give the power. I can take the power away. I can just reach down and just grab that power. Out the window. No, I wouldn't do that. I'm too lovely. I'm too nice. I love everyone. Anyway, let's have a look at what you were posting. Seems to be Chaos Theory. Yeah, exactly. Oh, just remembered. Are you going to review the at 1.5 song? Also, Muto Ayami have dropped a new single. Both songs aren't really my thing, but yeah. Well, thank you anyway for mentioning that. I'll check the Muto Ayami, and you did mention this at 1.5 thing. I should have done that before. See, I've already got a list with 7 entries just from this conversation. This is why we never run out of material here, my friends. But good point. I will check that out. Definitely, I'll check both of those out. We've got a little bit more of Brats coming up as well, which I know is another one of those sort of side project groups that a lot of people liked. Vengeance Theory. Oh, God. Vengeance for what? Best Master of Universe voice. I have the power. God. Sven, I send the performance of Shangri-La at the Discord channel. Oh, cool. I love this. Like Sven is just like posting loads of stuff. That's great. If you put them in Discord general, I have to scroll through and check them all out. Penguin, the Glim Spanky song isn't New. The song is from their last album. They just uploaded the full version of the music video now. Oh wow, okay, that's timely. I'll check it out anyway. Maybe they just ran out of budget when it came to editing it. Maybe they ran out of the budget and facilities to finish editing a video for an album, and so they've only just had the opportunity to do it now. That is totally possible. I've heard of that sort of thing happening, actually. Harry, if you have any recommendations for Howard, or if you, drop them in the Reddit or the Discord, that's a good point. I'm taking sort of like, if people are mentioning just sort of things by word, I'm going to write them down for now. But if you have a link, don't put a link here. If you've got a link, I really would appreciate that link. So please put that on the Reddit, and then that will make this much easier. But Howard takes power away, all channel. That was a good move for Bubs. This is your we're letting you off the training wheels now. We're gonna let you roll. If you accidentally murder any families, then we'll have to put you back on the leash. Okay? No naughty. Free Monkeys, my previous YouTube channel got 3 strikes, so I deleted it and I started again. You didn't say anything regards Netflix and the movie Kate and Bandmate have a starring role in it. I mentioned that a lot in, I think it was in the last live stream. Yeah, I guess I'm happy about that. And this film seems to feature some actors I really like. I'm going to reserve judgment. Putting awesome musicians in a movie doesn't always work out as a good thing, if there's one thing musicians clearly don't know, it's how to pick which films to appear in. So I'm going to reserve judgment. I will be really happy to see it just out of it. I'll get a joy and a giggle out of seeing it, but we'll see how that goes. Well, you are writing Sokaninaru. They are great. Sokaninaru, I've got another video of those that I just uploaded as well, which is scheduled to come out in the next week. So don't worry, there's more Sokaninaru, and a really, really interesting one this time as well. Seems to be Free Monkeys. He did mention it earlier on. Yeah, I think that was, I mentioned it briefly, but you are right. I didn't mention it much in this chat. I more mentioned it last week. So as to not see. Don't forget about Miyavi's in the movie. Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to when I interviewed Miyavi and the conversation I had with him. Interesting guy. Saw him in the movie. He was filming a movie with Angelina Jolie when I did that interview with him. Angelina Jolie was directing for the first time. That was the movie that when the Sony leaks happened, everyone was talking about how all of the producers had no respect for Angelina Jolie because it seemed like she didn't know what she was doing on set. And then the movie got very awkward reviews. And Miyavi's performance was, shall we say, uneven. So yeah, if Miyavi's in it, I hope that he's just playing music, but I think he's going to be acting again. So let's see how that goes. Evil Bubs decides to say a lot of random characters that in no way form words. Sven, what do you think about Band Number Girl? Band Number Girl. What I think about them is that I'm adding them to the list. Number Girl. I don't know Number Girl. Why did I censor myself? Looks at alcohol. Oh, that's how. Yes. I got to check out Number Girl. This is interesting. It's always lovely to know there's more. I noticed this when I was in the CD shop in Tower Records. It's like I suddenly realized like about almost half of these bands, and I don't know who they are. I was like, wow, there's so much more for us to check out. I love that. There's so much music in this country. Doug Hannon, Free Monkeys. Free Monkeys. Not sure if you were serious about the starring thing, but it seemed like Bandmate were likely just a minor part of the Netflix movie. Excited. Oh yeah, they're just in a minor part from what I've gathered as well. They're not even on the IMDb page, but that's fair enough. They're just they're going to be there, probably just playing in the background of a scene or something like that. But still cool. So woohoo! That's a fair response. Alvin, show you're responsible for making Nouns Yawn back in 1987 and still active to this year. Nouns Yawn is a Japanese rock festival with only female musicians. I hope you do some reaction and review to their songs. I did do one show you song. I probably should do more. I did one. It was good. I liked it. I wasn't like massively blown away by it, but I was like, yeah, this is good stuff. Probably should check out a little bit more though. this is one of the difficulty when you're talking about an artist who one of the formative artists who you might not be so familiar with. When you go back to them, it's very hard to work out because sometimes if they sound derivative, of course they're not derivative. It's actually the other artists who are deriving from them. But it can be very difficult sometimes when you go back to those artists to see them in a fair perspective if you hadn't heard them in a timely manner. So I will try my best, but I feel often like maybe I'll be unfairly harsh against them because I might have trouble seeing from perspective, considering for example, they were making festivals when I was 2 years old, so they they got a pedigree over me for certain. But yeah, interesting. I should probably check out more of them. It's fair. I know there's slight copyright things with Shoya, but that's probably just due to the length of their career. But interesting. Also, in regards to all female Japanese festivals or almost female festivals, I've had a lot of questions about this, and I do think it's a difficult subject. I know that these all-female festivals have become a big problem, actually, in places like London. You hear a lot of complaints about them, even from female musicians. I'm not saying this is the case with this, but a lot of people saying that the all-female festivals tend to put a weird sort of amount of pressure, and they overly politicize things for the artists. And there's been a lot of cases. There was a whole article in very prominent sort of news outlet, I guess they're mainly online now, in England, which was about the fact that there's a lot of female bands complaining about these all-female festivals. I think it's best when a festival doesn't have a structure for what type of artist it accepts, just that. But interesting. I should read more about this festival and see exactly how they work there, because it sounds interesting anyways. And as Free Monkeys is saying, tongue in cheek. Yeah, I think I gathered that, but I'm glad to get it qualified just to be sure. Japanese pub dub for my moderator status, says Bubs. So he's going to make me click a link. I'm on a live stream and now I have to click a link. Beautifully done, Bubs. Let's click on it and see what they okay, no, I can't. It won't actually let me do that because I'm on live stream. Oh well. Sven, the Japanese music industry is so connected. I could talk hours about where I know the artists, and at the end I could end that Asian Kung Fu generation. Yeah, it's really true, actually. You've got a really good point. Everyone is so together that everyone knows everyone. Every artist has worked with every artist. I mean, I love those videos that you guys sometimes post on like Discord of like stuff like Misa from Bandmade hanging out with Anyan from Silent Siren, and just random things, and you just hear like this artist knows this artist knows this artist. And you talk to a lot of real Japanese music fans, and that's how they find out about new bands. It's like, oh, I'm really into this band, and like their drummer also works with this band, and then they work with this band, and they recommend this band. I mean, for example, when I was listening to Doll's Box, and then from that I ended up getting Gakuric Spin, who copyright stopped me going any further with. But at the same time, I'm also on the other side getting stuff like Unlucky Morpheus, and it's just brilliant. Japanese bands, like you say, very interconnected. That's a fantastic point. And Asian Kung Fu generation obviously have a legendary status in Japan, by which I assume they're connected to everyone as well. Bubs, okay, I'm finished abusing my power. Is there a Japanese Lilith fair? Why would there be a fair for Lilith? Why would be a Lilith fair? That sounds very creepy and weird. Is this to do with your Bible again? Are you getting religious on me? Harry, speaking of girl festivals, are they still holding the Girl Factory shows in Japan? I feel so out of my depth that I don't know the answer to that. I've heard of this event, but I don't know anything about it. Wow. I should point out again, I mentioned this once before, I'm not much of a festival person. I'm more of I go specifically to concerts being hosted by a band. So I never really go to festivals anymore. I want to listen to this band. I go to their concert. I just find that to be much nicer, and plus in a place like this, I started to take that attitude in London, because you could very much do that in London. There's concerts all the time everywhere, and the same thing is true of Tokyo. So you can just go out and go, I'm going to see a band who I really like. I'm going to have a great time. I go out drinking with people who I meet at the show, have a wonderful time afterwards. I can stay out for the night, or I can get home and sleep in my own bed. You've got the choice. I'm much more into concerts than festivals nowadays, if I'm honest with you. Let's have a look here. Bubs, female music weekend. Zimp in. I'm actually Skeletor. You're not abusing your power, but you're abusing the minds of everyone in the conversation by going absolutely crazy. So that link's just wow. Owen Wilson.gif. Oh, Sue's woman come. There we go. So let's have a look at this. Another moderator just handled this. Wow, someone just owned me. I was letting Sven's comment through and someone stopped me and they're like, oh, my moderators are too fast. Sue is a woman of culture because she likes Asian Kung Fu generation. I'm assuming we're talking about Sue from Sai Sai because you're using Sue rather than Sue. Yeah, no, she's actually very interesting. Actually, the more I read from her, because she posts a lot of stuff, the more I read from Sue, she's very interesting. Actually, she comes across a little bit like your sort of normal, very surface pop star, very nice, sings in a little high-pitched voice. Da, 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 da. But she's a fantastic guitarist for a start. I should point out she's a very underrated guitarist, and she does seem to have a very, very interesting and deep personality. I've heard her, I've read some of the things that she's written, and she's very interesting. So I'm inclined to respect her opinion about pretty much anything. So if she likes Asian Kung Fu Generation, well, I mean, I already know they're a good band, but that's a good thing. Harry, the Scandal video I showed you was from Girl Factory 11. Wait a second, was Girl Factory the one that Stereo Pony set up? I know there's one that Stereo Pony was instrumental in setting up. Excuse the pun. Anyway, let me know. And the all girl thing reminds me of when Psyche went into the all girl section of the crowd in the live version of Freedom. All girl section of the crowd. Oh, that's interesting. That's a weird one. Anyway, guys, just so you know, this has been really interesting. I should point out, we have 10 minutes left on this stream. This has been fantastic. We're going to run it up and take it over that 3-hour mark for sure. We're really looking forward to that. We registered a 3-hour thing on here, and I think actually there's so many things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. A lot of it wasn't that important, but I did just want to point out some things. For a start, statistically, the channel's just been doing so much better recently, and certainly after that, it really helped doing the Conqueror reviews have helped lift things up once again. But just slowly, things have been getting better and better and better. We had on December the 17th, that was the second highest number of views we've had in one day ever in the history of the channel. We only had one day ever where we had more views than that. And that was thanks to, some really great stuff that we were able to post then. And yeah, it's been great. I mean, for the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, we've had clearly more than 4,000 views a day, which has just been wonderful. I mean, I'm absolutely over the moon with it. I tried to show this to Bubbles the other day, and it was really hard to do on screen, but I'll just try and show this to you. Let's see what, to make it easier, I'll show you a graph of the last 90 days. That's, if you can see it, the last 90 days in view form. And as you can see, it's really, really taken a wonderful leap up there towards the end, which is just fantastic. It's been getting better recently. And the number of subscribers has been wonderful as well. I mean, if you have a little look, this is the subscribers in the entire history of the channel, lifetime. And as you can see, it's always been kind of good. It's had good moments and bad moments, but it's been like so much better in the last month or so. And this has basically all been a result of, like I was saying before, the minute I got into this place, I knew that things were going to be better and easier to do, and I could settle down and focus and concentrate on things, recording videos ahead of time, which I've done a lot as well, which is why, like I say today, I said this right at the beginning of the stream 3 hours ago, I uploaded an absolutely vast number of videos today. It's something like 20 videos, I think, in total now, because some have actually been going up during this conversation. Just a huge number of videos I've been able to upload, and it's felt wonderful, because that means that I can set those up, and then for like the next 2 weeks, almost everything's ready to go, and I can just focus on doing a few more album listen views, recording the specials I wanted to do, editing the Korea special that you guys, if you've been on the channel for more than 6 months, you know what that's all about. There's been some great stuff, so I'm just really, really happy with the way the channel's going at the moment, and I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who's been involved, because it really, really, I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but it really has been very much supported by you guys. Some of you guys have been really hands-on running the channels. You've been sending me stuff to help out. I mean, this lighting right now is being controlled by leads that were sent to me through the post. All these wonderful things that have been helping just make everything better. And it all comes down to the fact that, the big difference between this channel and the other channels is the fact that, no discredit to other channels, but you watch like movie reaction channels and movie review channels, and there's like, you get some hyperbolic channels and you get some people who sit down and really talk about it. But in music, there's very few channels where people sit down and just talk about a song and then like have a conversation afterwards. And I think that's something that we're doing. And so, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all you guys for being the fuel of that, giving us a chance to do that. So I really appreciate that. And I thought I'd get that in before we get into like the last few minutes. I'm just gonna have a quick look going through the comments. We've had a few while I was talking there, and then we'll get all the way behind like I did before. So Doug, the all-girl thing reminds me, oh yeah, you mentioned that. Bandmate was talked recently about increasing number of Princess female fans. Concert footage of Scandal band fans like Scandal and Bandmate do seem to have a concerning predominance of male fans. Yeah, but see, this is my problem. I don't think that's the band's responsibility. Okay, maybe in the way you advertise things, but there is such a thing as accepting supply and demand. And I'm just going to put it out there. You've got to accept that if you are a group of attractive young women, you're going to get more male fans. Because for every group who's popular and up and coming, you're going to have a mixture of fans who really like you, who just think you're like really hot, and a Venn diagram where there's going to be a lot of people in the middle. So I hope they don't try and do anything too forced to try and get that message across, because yes, it would be lovely to see more female fans at these kinds of groups, but it's not to say there are not female fans out there. You go to Japanese rock clubs and there are as many women as men. Depends on the artist. So if they're trying to push that too much, they might want to take a little look at themselves and realize there is a reason. You have to accept it. I know you want to be a band, but you're going to have to accept there are going to be people there who are there for more than just the music, because they want to like the hot band and they want to come and see the hot band. Sorry, that's reality. Good luck to them. I hope that they do get more. Hope they do get more female fans in their shows. But let's be realistic as well, is all I say. I don't know the statistics, so I don't want to sound like I'm making a comment there, but just kind of, that's my feeling. I've heard about this kind of thing before, and you have to be a bit realistic when you say things like that. You're going to get more male fans. Sorry. Like if you go to a 1OK rock concert, I guarantee you there'll be more women there. But need a refill. Go get a refill. I got my refill right here. Yeah. Bandmate have a princess section, and she couldn't get back on stage, so Miku finished the song. Princess section. That's weird. Segregation at a concert is segregation. That's weird. Yeah. Doug Hannon, do you think this lack of balance is a problem? The pretty girls can easily grab guys' attention. Do you think there's a reason why aren't more female fans at these bands' genre costumes? You're actually interesting, expanding upon the point I was making there. For example, let's just be clear. Let's be clear. And again, I'm not holding anything together. I said this when I first reviewed Bandmate. I remember talking about the quote-unquote gimmick of wearing the maid outfits, which I said is nothing bad about that. Gimmicks are a good thing. Because it doesn't detract from your music. It's just a thing that you do. But you have to accept what it is. You dress up as maids. That is very appealing to a certain subset of men. Scandal, first album, all of the pictures, they are wearing schoolgirl outfits. That is a known trope for pulling in men. There are guys who just like that look. You have to understand that those things are good business, because if people give you money, they give you money. It's still money, Someone who gives you money for liking your music, their money is not worth more than the money that comes from someone who just thinks you're really hot. Or maybe has convinced themselves they really like their music just because they're obsessed with the hot girls. It's good business to appeal to that. It's a good business to appeal on the grounds of attraction. That's why most musicians who get signed are attractive. That is a good way to appeal. But you have to accept that that is going to result in a demographic issue. You cannot just sort of pretend that, okay, you can't have both. You can't say hey, my audience isn't balanced, standing there in a maid outfit. You can't. Doesn't work that way. And I don't think that's what they're saying. I think what they're saying is they want to encourage, rather than sort of balance things, it sounds like they're saying they want to encourage more women not to be scared away from their shows. And I think it's more with Bandmaid, I suspect it's more of a thing that they don't want women to be scared away from the show by, hey, if I go to see a band who dresses up as maids, that's a bit weird. I think they're trying to say, hey, women, it's cool, we're just a band. But you also equally, like I say, you cannot claim there's something strange going on when you look out in the crowd and you see mostly men, because that's what you're going to get. So Harry, but fair point. And no, I don't. By the way, I don't think it's genre. You made a very good point. I don't think it's genre. Like I say, I've been to a lot of gig venues. Not this year. This year's been awful. I haven't been to really any gigs, but certainly before this year, when I was doing a bit better with money, and next year will be a bit better as well, hopefully. I was going to a lot of gigs, and believe me, there's plenty of women. Genre does not affect it. Not in Japan. But again, good questions. Harry, the Scandal show I went to in New York seemed to be equal numbers of male and female fans. At least there I was in line and in the crowd once I got in. Yeah, I wonder if there is more balance when you go overseas, because people hear about you before they see about you. You're not advertised directly to them. And plus, people will be more attracted to the cultural phenomenon of, hey, I'm going to go see a Japanese band. When you talk about these kind of figures, it is important to, I mean, remember, this is a good way of describing this. Remember that when bands get really big, they have like massive sales. And then in the longevity of their career, when the hype is all gone and they're just still playing, but they're not the cool thing anymore, they still have fans, but they have significantly less. And you have to ask, what made that big difference? And that big difference was made by people who just liked them because they were the thing at the time. And that sort of thing is drawn by things like attraction, and cultural phenomena is another thing. This is another reason why, like I said, I'd be very interested to see how Baby Metal's future goes, because obviously there's a lot of people who are into them at the moment, and we have to just accept this, who like them primarily because they can go, hey, how niche, I'm into that Japanese band. This is not to say they don't like their music, but to a fan like that, they're not irreplaceable, because they will find something else eventually. This is the important thing to remember. This is why we have to be slightly cynical when we talk about music fans. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, like I say, from the perspective of the person, like whatever you like, for whatever reason you like, that's cool. If you're giving them money as well, then that's fine. Money's money. But, if we're going to start drawing statistics, we have to look at it that way. CMC, the princess section is primary, so don't get crushed by the crowd coming forward, and also to avoid any abuse. Miku asked publicly for them to report any issues like this. That is good in one sense. I mean, the same way that I like the segregation on the trains in Japan, that the front and back train carriage are always for women, which is nice, so they can be nice and separated. But it also makes me a little bit sad. I guess more of the touching thing is the issue, because it's more personal space is more of an issue in Japan anyway. So I kind of get it for that reason then, although it does still feel weird. Segregation in any sense feels weird, but okay, I get it on that sense. I mean, after all, I did just approve the train thing, so I guess I've got no real element to talk about that. So I mean, that is absolutely a thing. But like I said, I just kind of I want fans to respect each other, but then again, I'm being overly optimistic. It's just when you hear that they have to even that people want to be segregated, it's like basically, I mean, the way I've seen it usually, I guess it's a calling out thing. Because if you see, I mean, I've been at plenty of gigs, especially in like the West, well, actually primarily in the West, where you see like someone does something like maybe a guy is too pushy to a girl or something like that. And then the person, the woman will turn around, she'll say something, and then everyone else in the immediate vicinity will turn as well, and they will notice it and they will see it. You don't get away with it because the crowd are all together, they're all having a good time. And one person starts a problem with another, we're all friends. You start a problem with one person, you start a problem with everyone around you. So usually that's not a problem, but I do understand in Japan it's a little bit more difficult. There is still that culture of you don't really speak up about if something bad happens for a lot of people. So I suspect, maybe. It's sad. It feels like a sad subject, but okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You've convinced me. You've swung me to understand. Sven, I have the feeling that Silent Siren fans have many male fans. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. Pretty sure the video evidence is there. But that's my point. I know that when I hopefully get to go to one of their gigs, I know that a lot of the people around me will primarily like the band because they're very, very hot. And I have absolutely no objection to people saying that they are an attractive band. They're extremely attractive band. But I also really like their music. I mean, I really like their music. I will gladly listen to their music without any video, just walking around. I enjoy it. And that's the thing. You can find a band attractive and like their music. There is nothing wrong with that, so long as in your head you're able to draw the separation. That's the big deal. That's the really big deal that makes this such an interesting subject. And it is a very interesting subject, actually, that difference. And like I say, the primarily way that you can show it and see it in a band is in the fall of their popularity as either A, they get older or members get married or they start breaking away from that. Interestingly enough, I was actually thinking the other day, to me, Silent Siren appears to be like, I think Silent Siren is like the idol group for middle-aged men. Well, I guess any idol group is in Japan, but the fact that they're all kind of around and about 30 years old, 30s to middle age. The fans probably be 30s to middle age because the band are all about 30 years old. They play their own instruments, and they're a little bit more mature. So it's kind of like they almost represent an interesting break in that sort of area of publicity. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the comments. So, Bubs, oh God, South Korea. Yeah, the South Korea thing, man. South Korea's coming. You're in it. Wow, there's been a lot of comments. I'm falling really behind. Oh my God. Where did these come from? I didn't see these. It's just suddenly appeared. All right, I'm going to catch up on the comments and then I'm going to finish. So please, if you can try and slow down on the comments a little bit, that would be great because I've got to catch up with them so I can close this. We're already a bit over 3 hours. And it is nearly 3:30 in the morning here. I wonder why the former model Silent Siren have male fans. Well, exactly. They all met in a model agency that kind of gives you all the information you need. But like I say, there's nothing wrong with being beautiful and talented. Nothing wrong with that as well. And as a fan, nothing wrong with being attracted to an artist. Nothing wrong with liking the music, so long as in your head you know which one's which opinions of yours are driven by which motivations. Zimp Super Proxy seems to be underperforming in views. Yeah, don't worry. This always happens with the Francis Magalona and the Philippine stuff. It'll get like no views, and then suddenly about a month from now, someone will post it to someone, and just suddenly it goes up. This happened. The statistics on all of the Philippine videos are hilarious. They just do nothing, and then suddenly someone notices them, and off they go. Especially Baksakan. That's like one of the most viewed videos on the channel. And just like for the first like month that it was out, no one watched that video, and just suddenly off it goes. And it happened with the second one as well, Kaleidoscope World. Same thing, just nothing, and off it goes. So I had no problem dropping that. I dropped that as an investment that will come back and be appreciated later, I think. Don't. Good point though. I wonder if the issue is Japanese weight, or maybe my perception is just off the mark. I'm talking about the boy-girl thing here. Maybe. I think another thing is it's more okay to have attractive bands in Japan. I think if you had a record label in the West and they only signed attractive artists, I think it would be more called out as some sort of, people would call it out. It would be seen as a very conservative thing. People would start saying there's a body image and all this stuff. So, I've got no problem with celebrities being attractive. I have absolutely no qualms about the fact that one of the reasons I was never going to get any celebrity status is because of my apparent lack of hair. It's nothing wrong with that, but I know that it's not seen as such a good practice in the West, so that might partly drive it. There's less, shall we say, obviously attractive bands, or then again, maybe I'm just biased. Taste thing, maybe my taste is different from, who knows. That's an interesting question. Someone else have to tell me if it was just me. CMC, Bubs to CMC. I'm going to redress that a little. Just having shits and giggles with other stuff. CMC, a lot of the issue with live performances is that the people who have the money and time are older, and those who are familiar with the style of music. That's an interesting point. I don't know if rock music is necessarily the property of the older generation, though. Might have a point, but I'm not sure if that necessarily is where I'd look at it. Well, I'll think about that. Harry, I remember Baby Metal doing an entire female-only concert. Yeah. Well, if they did it in a venue where they then did not then back that up with a concert for everyone, that's just pure out of order. Like, we're going to go to your town and we're not going to invite men. So, oh, okay, my favorite band's coming to play in my town. Oh, I'm not welcome because I have a penis. You know, that would then be extremely out of line, and I would be very against that. But if they did like 2 concerts and one was female only and one was mixed, okay, fair enough. Yeah, the guys can still get in. They just have to wait for their mixed concert afterwards. Yeah, that all depends on how they handled that. Kale Tafos, thank you. Am I pronouncing it Tafos? I kind of think the Princess section was set up by the label for the purpose of the DVD, probably a lot connected to band and or label. That's actually a really interesting point, because you DVD that and there's lots of women in the crowd, encourages more women. That's a very good point, actually. I didn't think of that. Free Monkeys. Mika did the same in America, part in the crowd like the Red Sea and doing her magic time in amongst them. Very lovely. Very lovely. Can't wait to see them live in February. Bubs. Message retracted. That wasn't me. I planned to abuse my power in other ways. So I got the hiccups. I've been talking for too long, guys. We're way over 3 hours. I'm going to have to finish this soon. I'm trying to catch up on the comments. Really struggling to get up to date on them because there's a lot of comments on there. I really appreciate it, but hopefully I'll read these all before we finish, but I might have to cut off a little bit early in a second. Sorry, because my throat's starting to hurt a little bit. Simp, they've done a few concerts with specific crowns, like each color of the Fox festivals in 2017, men only, women only, non-adults only. Oh, that's cool. No, that's okay. That's fine. That's quite nice. That's more like tailoring your crowds. That's good. Okay, that's very different from what I was worried that you were going to say. Free Monkeys to Bubs. Abuse away, but don't, please, just do not encourage him. Do not. It's taken me years to get him into any semblance of control, in which always teetering on that knife edge where he'll go back to being himself. Penguin. Oh, Penguin, you've been quiet for a while. I'm glad you're still here, though. Scandal mentioned that once they didn't wear the schoolgirl uniforms anymore, they saw more female fans at live events. Yes, exactly. And they probably found their fame went down a little bit as well. But this is my point. You know, I mean, actually, there's probably not a correlation between their fame. I'm just kind of saying that for a joke. But this is the point. There's nothing wrong with having a gimmick or playing on your attractiveness and getting paid. If you're not doing it in a nasty or, you know, well, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but an exploitative way. If you're not doing it in an exploitative way, fine. That's fine. You know, wear a schoolgirl outfit, dress up as a maid, whatever. The maid thing's kind of a little bit more fun character anyway, but still. But you have to accept what that means. You have to accept that some of your money is coming from that. There you go. So let's have a look here. Bubs. Princess section is for safety for female fans. I don't mean that in a bad way. No, that's fine. Like I say, you guys have convinced me. It sounded a little bit. I didn't like the sound of it, but now you guys have explained it. I got to admit, I see the sense in that. Free Monkeys fine. Be impressed by revolutionary words. Can't click on the link. So let's have a look here. Oh God, scroll down again. Bubs. Yeah, it's to CMC. Yep, it's but true. A gig, ladies need help, but most importantly, guys need to understand this shit isn't on. Yeah, that's my point. I would much rather get those guys disciplined and give them a smack around the head than shoo the women into a section. You know, it feels a bit bad. The women have to be in a section because the men can't control themselves. Well, not some bad apples. That's kind of where I feel negative, but I do accept we live in the real world here. We can't expect everything to be perfect, and if women feel uncomfortable because there's a possibility of that thing, then yeah, it's fine. I'd much rather they felt somewhere in the crowd where they were safe and they could just enjoy the concert, just enjoy the show. So no, I totally understand what you guys are saying. Albion, it's out of topic, so it's okay if you don't want to answer it. What's your opinion about Royal Blood? They are in English rock duo. I appreciate if you do answer. Thank you. Royal Blood. I I'm pretty sure I've heard of Royal Blood, and yet I can't recall any songs. I'm going to make a little note of that. So they're an English rock duo. So I'm not going to probably, well, unless we get to the World Tour Wednesdays to England eventually. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and give them a listen. And then maybe in the next live chat, if you're around, we'll come back and have a little talk about that. Interesting point, though. Nothing wrong with bringing that up. Certainly, I'll give things a little bit of a listen. It seems I can't watch videos whilst I'm listening to this, or maybe I could use the other computer. But like I say, we're past 3 hours now, so I really need to be wrapping this up. But interesting point. I will come back to that certainly. So bring that up again in the next live chat, and if you're here, and maybe we can give you an opinion then. I haven't listened to much Western music in a long time, I've got to be honest with you. Just a little bit. Sven, what the label did with Scandal in their labels was hard. They had kept their school outfits and were not allowed to dye their hair. Yeah. So, okay, the company controlled that, but I guarantee you that company made them a lot of money. But, you know, they're having fun now. They're enjoying their careers. Bubs, Dave Kroll, do you mean Grohl? Did the Ultimate Safety fan notice he gave a bollocking to severe fan? Oh, I think that was Dave Grohl, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember something about that. And no, well, Dave Grohl's a legend. You know, I'm pretty sure if he saw something like that, he'd jump down into the audience and sort it out himself. No, easy. Dave Grohl's an absolute bloody legend. Wonderful guy. CMC, remember fans were crushed to death at Monsters of Rock at Donington in the 1980s? Yeah, but I know what you mean. It was very different, though. There was less awareness of how this kind of thing worked for a start. You know, people have started to understand that kind of thing more, and the security is better. It's not, I mean, obviously there was problems. Was it Woodstock 1999? There was more problems with that kind of thing, wasn't there? People being crushed and stuff. But with time, we are getting, you know, with social media, one of the good things that comes from social media is these sort of more normal life experiences are slightly discussed more. People talk more about things like concert experiences and things. So I think people are more aware of that kind of thing now, and security is better now. But yeah, still point remains. Penguin, Scandal was definitely advertised to a male audience primarily in the early career. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I was here when their first album came out, and damn, they were everywhere. And actually, it was one of the things that put me off, is I just kind of felt like this. It felt like it was not being advertised as music. It felt like, look at these hot chicks. So like, yeah, I'll pass on that. And of course, interestingly enough, years later, here I am really enjoying their music. But I'm sure there was a lot more people who didn't pass on that than did pass on that. So learned a lot about Japanese scene today. Thanks for all of you. Well, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that we were able to chip in and help. But hopefully I've been able to say some things that are useful. Like I said, I try and qualify the things I know against the things I suspect, against the things I've heard. But I think between us all, we can draw some pretty good pictures here. Harry, I understand that once Rena graduated high school, they were allowed to abandon the school uniforms. Oh, right. Okay. Interesting. So they had to wear their own school uniforms, did they? Come to your signed band practice after school. After Scandal listen through, we make Silent Sirens listen through. Yeah, don't worry. We're moving on to, I'll just quickly show in case you didn't see this before. I know some people have got sick of me always showing which albums I've got, but I'll just show which ones we've got at the moment. So I was very lucky I picked up what I needed. So where is it? So we did Sci-Sci. So the next one, this is the other unsigned album. Well, minor label signed album. Then we've got Start is arranged 31. And then yeah, pretty much in order actually. So Silent Sirens album, we did S already actually. So, and then the latest two albums, I'm probably, if I don't get them in the next couple of months, I might order them online if I've got some cash. So yeah, the Silent Siren ones are going to be intermingled with the Scandal, so it's probably going to be Scandal, Sci-Fi, Scandal, Sci-Fi like this. So don't worry, that is coming. CMC Reddit song suggestion thread. Thank you for posting that again. Any song suggestions, Bob says? Suggestions about the overthrow of my moderation rule. Posting the same. Benzene Molecule. Hey, what's this chat about? It's about what the channel's about, mostly. Hopefully, you can tell me if it's not. It does differ a little bit from the videos, but hopefully it's about roughly the same sort of thing. Yeah. If you've got any comments on any of the stuff we've posted, definitely feel free to chip in. Although we are about to finish this one because we were supposed to finish 15 minutes ago. And there's too many comments. Like Scandal, Doug says, like Scandal leaving the school going up. I have to be good with bandmate in different clothes down the line. Sorry to set off controversy. Trying to get go to bed. I'm out. Haja, molecule Japanese primarily. Mataneo, Yasminasai. They have said that they can't envision performing without the costumes now, especially Psyche. Yeah, I think for Psyche it might be a sort of a protection thing. She seems to be the more shy member of the group. I personally, like I said this a while ago, and I do maintain this. I suspect if they're still playing together, as they well could be in 10 years' time, then if they're still playing together in 10 years' time, I can imagine them not wearing those outfits anymore. But it is written into their name, Bandmade. But I'd be interested to see where it goes. I'm sure there'll be some point in their careers where they go, hey, let's just not do that. But hey, I'm very interested. I mean, at the moment, they seem really comfortable with it, and it really works with their style. So if they're enjoying it, great. CMC, go your bubs. User called I'm now natural chaos. Did I do neutral? Yeah, you did good neutral, bubs. You did good neutral. Very well done. Zim, you're starting to turn lawful good. Oh God, feel dirty and good. My therapist, yeah. He's getting into his dual psychology, reverse psychology, making him feel good by making him feel dirty by doing good things. All right, guys, I'm up to date with the comments now. I'm pretty sure on that. So sorry to rush this one through, but yeah, like I say, we're quite a bit over the 3 hours that I said I was going to do, and I need to get some rest. I've got another early start tomorrow, as is so often the case on Sundays. Had a really hectic, stressful day today, and all I can say, I'm just going to say this one more time to finish. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. So many of you guys have been here for the full 3 hours. So many of you guys have been here for the majority of the chat, and people have been chatting and leaving interesting comments, adding likes. If you haven't already added a like, please do. I really appreciate it if anyone can pop a like on the end of this. Just keeps like the stats nice and high on the channel. And all I can say is, honestly, thank you so much, as always, for everyone. You have a lovely evening, have a lovely weekend as well. I know you guys are pretty much all behind me on the time zone, so you enjoy your Saturday night as well, if it's still Saturday for you. And yeah, well, you're all saying goodbye, and I really appreciate that. So for now, thank you so much for joining me on this massive one. And yes, have a wonderful Christmas. If you're doing Christmas, enjoy it a lot. I'll make sure to post some good things over the season. So for now, from Japan, ciao, ciao.